30 miles on the Gulf Stream, I hear the south wind moan. The bridge is getting lower, the shrimp boat's coming home. The old man down in the corner slowly turns his head, takes a sip from his whiskey bottle, and this is what he said. I was born in the rain on the Ponce train, underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane, they come around every June. The high black water, a devil's daughter, she's hot, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. Man came down from Chicago, he gonna set that levee right. He says it needs to be at least 3 feet higher, it won't make it through the night. But the old man down in the corner, he said, don't you listen to that boy. The water be down by the morning, and he'll be back to Illinois. I was born in the rain on the Ponce train, underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane, they come around every June. The high black water, a devil's daughter, she's hot, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. Miles on the Gulf Stream, I hear the south wind moan. Bridge is getting lower, the shrimp boat's coming home. The old man down in the corner slowly turns his head, takes a drink from his whiskey bottle, and this is what he said. I was born in the rain on the Ponce train, underneath the Louisiana moon. Don't mind the strain of a hurricane, they come around every June. High black water, the devil's daughter, she's hot, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. I was born in the rain on the Ponce train, underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane, they come around every June. The high black water, the devil's daughter, she's hot, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. Nobody taught him it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans.
What's up, everybody? Christopher, are you going to get up here on stage with me? I sent you the co-host. Window John, I was just following you, and then it said I needed to follow you back. What happened?
I deny. Yeah, I had some problems. I got a message from Twitter today saying they flagged me, thought I was a spammer, but I asked for a review and they said spammer. So,
well, there you go. Not a spammer.
yeah. Well, I had another account, and it had the same phone number, but I went ahead and shut that one down because Hurricane Helene hit us. So I'll let people know I'm in Western Carolina now, starting to network with some people. So I'm on the Starlink, by the way. If my mic cuts out for like 8 seconds, that's because that's the connection I have. But I've been working with Margot and meeting all these people now. So we're just about to get our power back on maybe in the next day or two. But I mean, I'm out here walking, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles a day, just trying to meet neighbors, help out where I can. I don't know what they're going to do with this disaster in our politics. If there's going to be an election issue or fraud, if the state turns blue or something like that. But I'm letting people know I'm here and motivated to do whatever. So this is kind of the last white Western country on the earth. We got to take a stand.
That's right. And I mean, I think it's really incredible. The stories of just unity and, working together and not relying on the government, because we all have to get that mentality of the government is not coming to save us. And then we need to get the mentality of we need to stop paying them because they're not doing their job.
Well, something I found out just recently, every time we lose, I go and try to find a reason why we lost. I mean, I ran for state rep in 2008. So I've already been through it with the gatekeepers and the kingmakers in the Republican Party. I was a Ron Paul guy. And when John Boehner read the results of a voice vote off a teleprompter in 2012 and summarily dismissed Ron Paul and all his delegates right out of the convention, that really got me pretty angry. But recently, regarding the January 6th people, I just went back and started reading the 14th Amendment in the Constitution, which they gave us after the Civil War. And I noticed there, it says right there that no state shall deprive a person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Well, you know what? Washington, D.C. is not a state. That's why they did that to the Jan 6 guys. I got so mad and so upset listening to Tucker Carlson every single night. And I'm like, why don't you open your wallet and hire these guys a lawyer from the Thomas More Law Association or something? And the fact of the matter is, there's nothing they can do about it because Washington, D.C. has their own rules inside that territory. And there's a lot of things we got to wake up to. We have no idea what they've done to us over the years.
Well, we have no idea what they've done in our name either. That's really bad. I mean, the whole world is hating us because of all the crap that the CIA's pulled and all of our agencies. Just really nasty, overthrowing governments and creating just complete and total turmoil when they're supposed to be doing it, in the name of peace and democracy and, saving these other countries that, were having problems. Now these countries are just like falling right into the hands of China. And, it might be shiny and pretty now, China building all this infrastructure for all these South American countries. But there's going to be a big price to pay for that. And we've got to really figure out what we're going to do.
Well, and I started following, like BRICS info and things like that. And, everybody's talking about the Agenda 2030 and all the you will own nothing and like it. And, through the whole education that Ron Paul started pointing people towards about the Federal Reserve System and being the lender of last resort, the American people, I mean, again, I think we were smarter and we just got dumber. And the reason is Tucker Carlson just said it on February 7th. He just said it, or February 6th. He just said that the new economic order of the West is up. It's the 80-year mark since World War II. And we've been blowing up a credit balloon for 80 years. And we're going to go into whatever their new economic order is. And what the people need to understand is that the whole world is run on credit. So even all the BRICS nation are in debt to somebody. If you just go to World Debt Clock, all the BRICS nations are listed on the list, just like the United States. But the United States has only 1.2 or Russia's debt to whatever this entity is just 1.2% of what our debt is. We're $35 trillion in debt. So that is a mathematical impossibility to get rid of. Everybody should realize that. And then when you go and you dig a little deeper and you understand this stuff, you see these are debt notes. It's fiat currency. It's a promise to pay. Whoever issues the note is technically the owner of whatever's bought with the note. It's their credit. So, like I said, Tucker Carlson, again, he admitted in broad daylight. He just said the end of the 80 years is over. And that's it. It's been 80 years since 1945. And they're going to call the note on the United States and whatever they're going to do. World War III, we have no idea. But there'll probably be a North American Union. We'll probably end up with a new currency out of that, which just, again, the BRICS, the euro. I mean, overnight, all of a sudden, the European countries, well, here's your new currency. It's called the euro. Deal with it. And then the BRICS nations, maybe they have the least amount of debt, so maybe they get the favoritism. But it's interesting to watch.
Who do we owe the money to? That's the thing. Who's our debtor? Because I think that I've heard in places that our debtor is us. So I think that there's some really complicated and not accurate things that are going on with that. There's definitely politics involved in it. And, is there an option for us to declare bankruptcy? What's up, Walter?
All right, folks. Yeah, everything is coming, but it can be turned around. That's where I'm at.
That's right.
But yeah, so that's pretty much my attitude. Get Trump elected, get some local people elected, and we turn this thing around. But you touched on something, Kimberly, that I think wouldn't hurt to elaborate on even more, and that is, if America is hated, it's not because of the Americans, it's because of the people that are supposedly representing us and dragging us through this stuff. And you can only hope that the way we see other governments, that they will see our government the same way, separated from the people. But I just heard that, I don't know if you guys heard it, but that China just declared George Soros a terrorist.
Oh, so that's amazing.
Yeah, isn't it? So I mean, even China and all these people, I believe that these other countries are looking at America going, their government, not America. They're going, their government. So, and we just have to keep pointing out and pointing that finger towards our government.
Yeah, be like, I'm sorry, but I don't know them, and
exactly, because
they do not represent me. I mean, at all.
Exactly.
Hi, Bumble.
Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I'm good. I just had a cup of tea, so hopefully that's that will help me. But I was cruising through Rumble, and I heard somebody, I don't know who it was, commenting on the North American Union and BRICS. Who was that?
That was White John.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Window John. Yeah. So we were talking about the debt, and
Yeah,
just kind of what's going on.
Well, listen, America's gonna be America. We're still gonna be run on the oil as soon as we start drilling again and get our currency back. BRICS ain't gonna happen, and I refuse to nonsense. I yield.
I agree with you, and I think that there is a path for us to save this country, but there is a lot to do. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of sacrifice. We're going to have to give up some conveniences that we've all grown to know and love. But I think that we're going to be better than we were, and certainly wiser.
Hey, Kim, you know what else that sticks in my craw is no one can produce one iota of evidence supporting any of that speculation and innuendo. So let's cross that bridge when we come to it. But I don't think there's going to be any bridge crossing. I think we're going to be just fine.
From your lips to God's ears, Bumble. Hey, Christopher, I need you to be friends with Kim so that I can send you that stuff, the bookmarks. Does that say thought tincture? What does that say?
Yeah, I look forward to that, Kim. By the way, what you were talking about there with going back to the old ways and cutting some of the fat. As far as some of the programs we have going on, and getting back to being a constitutional republic.
Well, and I think that we can do that, and I think that we can use social media for community and fellowship and getting back together. I know that in the last 2 years that I've been on Spaces, just my level of humanism, if that's a thing, I don't particularly care for people mostly, and certainly did not spend a lot of time on the phone talking to people. But on Spaces and just the topics and the problem solving and the counseling and the mitigating of emotions as you kind of work through it with a group of like-minded people, I think if we can use that and leverage the relationships that we're building in this environment in our
the charity even.
Yeah, exactly.
Charity, the fundraising that people do for each other on this platform is amazing. It really touches my heart. People get together and okay, we got to help this person out, and we'll raise some funds, and it's really good.
I like it. All right, so Chris, I have you now. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna send you. So I'm gonna go through my based AF bookmarks because I bookmark everything. So we're gonna start out with some of those, and I think we're gonna start out with the Ian Carroll, Bobby Bailey video that they did at the what's it called? Restore the Republic. Is that what that was the name of it was? Hey, Mr. Philby, you're on mute. Can you talk?
Yeah, sorry about that. That was the other one, Rage Against the War or something like that.
I'm sending it to you right now. I got to get you into my list.
I'm still getting set up here.
All right. Well, that's fine. Hi, Carolina. Nice to see you.
Guys, if you could like and repost the space, please, we'd very much appreciate that. That'll help bring some more people in. Whoa.
Christopher.
What topics will you be touching on today, Kimberly?
Oh, we're going to talk a little bit about Milton, Julian Assange, our friends at fucking FEMA, and this new guy I discovered, Teach Him Chuck. Have you ever heard of him? Chris, mute your mic.
Can't say I have.
All right, so he's new. Sorry, I had to yell in y'all's ear, but I had to get Chris's attention. Well, I guess he's been around for a little while. He talks a lot about the damage that critical race theory has done to our culture. And he's talking with other influencers and stuff like that. So I've got a clip of that. But first, I'm going to send Chris this other one. It's coming, Chris. Actually, I'll put it down in the chat. Sound good?
I dropped a couple things in the purple pill there. Some pictures I have. I collect 19th century history books. So I got a page from a Noah Webster speller in 1880, and then I've got a page about our founding and the Revolutionary War from 1844, which is pre-Civil War. All that stuff is still out there. And if people want, to start the discussion, face to face in your home, you can go on eBay and get any of these books that haven't been, revisionist history. You can get original books and read them, and just take a page out and go to Hobby Lobby and get a frame and just frame it. Get a page out of John Locke's 2 treatises on civil government or something, and just put it in a prominent place in your house. And when people come in, you start a discussion. But I kind of seen the same path Kimberly does. Go, yeah, there's a path of hope. If some of the cream rises to the top, and like I said before, I've already been up against it with the gatekeepers and the kingmakers, and now I'm in a different state and I see what's happening here, and I follow Margot and talk to her, and I told her, I said, look, I'm not opposed to getting involved in the county Republican Party. But I said, I'm not going to sit. I'm 55 years old. I've already been through it. I'm not going to sit around for 20 years and work at the county fair to climb the ladder. Okay. I could run for office. If I was in a seat in representative government in the state legislature, I would do the right thing. And that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to us being stewards over.
Oh, I think his Starlink clicked out. No, but you're right. That's sort of what we've been doing, is using the infrastructure.
Have a paycheck? Oh, good.
You're back there? Okay, you're back. You cut out for a
sorry.
second
There. Okay. Yeah, like I said, that's the Starlink. It's not perfect. But no, I was just going to say, we just have to be good stewards over what we're given to do. The land under our feet, again, Helene just came right through here. Now, we were in the path. We got the worst of it. We're on the east side of it, but we're blessed. We've got a generator and things like that, and we're up a little bit, so no water pooled in our backyard. But I've been walking, like I said, 5-10 miles a day just to meet people and see if I can help. But again, if we just do the right thing with whatever we control, we do that in front of other people, and we set that example, and more people are going to.
No, you're right. And you cut out again. But and that's what we aim to do is,
I'm not going to invite Sodom and Gomorrah judgment on America. I'm not going to do that just so we win. Yeah.
That's right. But we do need to have people be held accountable. But also, you touched on, we're not going to go to the county fair and work our way up the GOP. We're just going to go in there and take it over because they already have the infrastructure in place, and it is a great infrastructure. It's just nobody knows about it. Nobody understands how it's built. Nobody really understands the power of the parties. So, it's ours for the taking. We got rid of all the rhinos, went over to the Democrats. So I'm good.
And that's what needs to be added to what Wendell is talking about. The good people thing, the do the right thing people, and all of that. But what he fails to mention, or failed to mention, is the fight that's got to be involved in it. President Trump said it: fight, 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 and that's where we're at. The
freedom
approach,
isn't free.
Nope, it's not free, and we're gonna have to really dig down and find that thing that we didn't ever believe that we had to use, and use it today, right? And I don't mean dig in your pockets and pull anything out, but I mean dig down deep in your heart and understand that what we have to be able to conjure up today is a fight that we never thought we'd have to use. And that means getting out, talking to other people, building your own army around you, and getting ready to go take some stuff back, like you were just mentioning.
Well, and like I said, when you buy those 19th century history books, nobody should be surprised at all that the founding fathers incessantly quoted scripture. These people studied world history and the Bible by candlelight. So they knew something. They knew why the Roman Empire fell. They knew what happens when immorality and iniquity and sin just creeps its way into the highest ranks of government. This is what happens. George Washington said it in his farewell address. He said, I don't let anybody call themselves a patriot if they labor to hone down the pillars of religion and morality. So you have a word labor there. These people, even these Republicans at the convention, were laboring to welcome in stuff that the Bible says, no, it's black and white. No, you can't do that. It's against nature's law. You can't labor to bring that in. We can't sow sexual debauchery into the American fabric. Our founders would never tolerate that. And we don't hate those people. There's nothing about hate, but they do have to, like you said, it's a fight. You have to tell them, look, no, we're not going this way, because every other nation that did this, Temple of Diana, Greece, whatever you want to say, the Roman Senate, every other nation that ever did this, sowed in sexual debauchery and justified it and rationalized it. They went down the tubes, and everybody, and there's a correlation there. So like I said, we have to quote the founders, and if something hurts, that's what you do. You dig the spade in the hard dirt, and you drop the seed, and you say, this is natural law. This is God's law. This is right. The founder said the laws of nature and nature's God. If we don't adhere to those, if we have no reverence for them, then we're going to go down like everybody else. And like I said, I think it's pretty obvious. The rest of the world is in awe at America, going, how could you guys have fallen this far? And then the same thing is, are you guys going to fight? Are you guys even going to fight? And that's what they're looking for. So they're looking for leadership. So like I said, I'm kind of wound up and ready to go, but I'm going to say some things that the establishment doesn't like. The people that did work the county fair for 30 years. Well, I'm here because I earned it. Well, you know what? You're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? You're playing a shell game. You know what I mean? You're doing what the corporations do, that, how Enron got taken down. You guys are cooking the books. Knock it off. There's a morality. There's a code. This country was built on some serious religion and morality. And again, we're not a theocracy. I get that. I'm not pushing a theocracy. But the people that do right are the ones that are being stomped on incessantly, and that's a pattern in the Bible anyway. It's a pattern in the Bible anyway. If you stand up and you're a light, well, everybody's going to sit there and shoot their fire hoses at you and try to knock you off the mountain. So you know what? You just get right back up in his strength and go, no, this is right. This is just. This is what we have to do. And I don't have to worry about Kamala, and I don't have to worry about all I don't need to worry about the evil. I need to worry about Yahweh God waking up a whole bunch of Americans right now going, hey, you know what? You guys know the truth. You are the light. Now stand up and be the light. And like I said, that's my draw to it. So.
No, 100%. You are so correct. Sorry, the space is glitching a little bit, guys. So give me a minute. I'm going to have to...
I can hear you up there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to drop out of the space for just a second and then come back in. So you guys, you know, can you hold down the space?
If you don't mind, I'll chat a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Hey, and is it Window or when I can't see your full name, but
yeah, it's Window John. I used to be a window salesman, and now I can't even get a job at a big box store.
Man, it's getting crazy out here, guys. But just to add on a little bit, if I can, to what you were just saying. So, yes, the people that their eyes are opening have been open for a while, or they're seeing what's going on now with FEMA, the controls apparatus, so to say. I don't even want to give them that much, but if you see what's going on and what he just said, we have to stand up. Look, and no pun intended, guys. I'm paralyzed. I'm in a wheelchair. I'll roll wherever you guys want to walk. I'll back you. Look, it's getting wild. The Southeast is about to be decimated even more. And in the middle of all this, guys, there's so much they're trying to distract us with to keep our attention off of what really, really matters. And what really, really matters is the next 5 to 10 years. And if we can't stand up now, we will be taken advantage of, taken worse than what it is now. More children coming up missing, you know, more money issues that they're just going to keep grinding, you know, us in more debt with these banks. But when enough of us stand up, if we have the guts and the galls and the patriotism in our hearts to really stand up together, I think the rest will fall behind us in line with us. And they'll see that if you have enough guts and you do speak the truth and you have God on your side, nothing can stop you, and everything will change or start to change for the better. But there are dark times ahead, guys. We see that. It's in our daily lives. It's all around us, but we're kept way too busy, and our kids are being taught the opposite of what is right and true and loving and caring. And the house has been taken from us, guys. We need to take our house back.
That's exactly right. We took our eye off the prize, and we've got to get it back. That's for sure.
Well, and the courage is contagious. And not only is the courage contagious, courage is exactly what we need to move the Overton window. So we have all the evidence of what FEMA has done or has not done. I didn't hear anything about the North Carolina National Guard ever coming out. And then these people said, yeah, well, there's people that have been sent to help, and FEMA told them to stay put. It was terrible. The first 6-7 days of this in North Carolina have been terrible, and Margot has been all over it. But we have all the evidence. The government is our enemy. And that's exactly how this country was founded. I mean, John Locke wrote it in 1689 in Two Treatises in Civil Government. He said the arrogance, hypocrisy, and the criminality of the ruling class is going to bubble to the surface, and all the people are going to grab their pitchforks going, hey, wait a minute, you're our equal, and this is how you behave? You oppress your own people? Well, you're not going to rule over us. No way. So again, we came over here. Here we are in America. We started off on the right foot. I mean, again, the freedom of religion. James Madison's like, whatever I think about the Bible is my personal property. However I read the book is my personal property. Nobody can tell me what church to go to. And now you have some 30,000 denominations of Christianity now, all claiming the same God, the same book, and the same Jesus. Well, now you know some of them aren't telling the truth if they're Democrats. You know? So again, this is, like I said, this is what we have to do. We have to be courageous. We have to step up. And we, like I said, we have the evidence of what FEMA or what the government has been doing. So we know. So again, you know what? You say, this is what your government's doing, but this is what Bob Hillbilly did over here. And he saved a bunch of people, and he brought the food in, and he got mules, and he got an ATV, and he flew his helicopter in there anyway, even though they said they was going to arrest them. And all the other patriots out there just saying, how is it that I have to get anybody's permission to go save humanity or help my fellow man? Where does that come from? See what I mean? So, like I said, I posted it, like I said, in the Purple Pill. Just read it about the founding. The founders were here for 3 generations before England sent the redcoats over here. And they put, and hey, what are you doing? You're shifting the tax burden from England over to us? Everything we do is for you, the crown. Why are you doing this to us? And what did they do? They sent the redcoats over there, and the quartering of the troops was the last straw. But we tried, and we tried. And they just kept coming, and they just kept being more tyrannical and more oppressive to their own British citizens. So what did our founders do? They signed their own death warrant, and they took Declaration of Independence. Nobody wants violence. Nobody wants it. But how many times are we going to have to see the evidence that that the parent government, our federal government, Washington, D.C., who's not even a state, is hell-bent on destroying the rest of us?
We're close to the finish line, my man. We got a few months here left, and we're going to be good. So we'll just.
But you know what? What North Carolina is showing us, though, is that we can do this without them, and I think that is terrifying for them. We knew we could. We've been talking about it for a long time, and with each crisis that we're dealing with, we are solving the problems ourselves. And in fact, if our government were to actually let us in on everything, so we knew what we were dealing with, we could solve their problems too. But they think we're stupid. They have lost their way. They worship very bad things. And they've been lying to us for a very, very long time. And it's sad. And I'm excited about the future. If we can just get through this mess, I'm hoping that, things go smoothly. And I think that a lot of people are waking up. So you're not going to get that, not as much vitriol and anger.
Yeah, and that's the blessing in disguise at the moment. And just to clear something up, if the whole room didn't know, in the 1800s, mid to 3/4 of the way through, in mid to late 1800s, and the Revolutionary War, we ran up a very big tab with company of certain demographic of people. We won't go into that. It's not neither here nor there right now. But so what happened is we became in debt to rich people, and we had to come up with a way to have collateral and to pay off the debt and to come to an agreement with these companies. We formed what is called the United States of America Corporation, and it's a company, and it's the way they're running this place. The court system, right,
we're
not
filing
for us.
Chapter 11 on that bitch. Let me tell you something.
Yes. So what we need to do is get our sovereignty back, get our lands back. All right. And we don't need that corporation anymore. We can go back to our original constitution and get out from under this second secret constitution that most people don't know about.
But they have no authority.
Right. It is illegal, and it has to do with land and money and people that they call you anti-Semite if you talk about. Let's just leave it at that. But anyway.
Absolutely. All right, we've got some hands here, so I'm going to Bumble, I'm going to let you go first because I know your voice is driving you a little bit crazy today, and then we will go to the Crusader, Wolf, and I think that's all my hands I got.
Thank you, Kim. So I actually put my hand up to offer a little advice to, what was his name? Window John. I wanted to see if he had access to a blood pressure cuff, because he might want to take a reading, and maybe we all could look up the word stoic and adopt that philosophy so that we notice, but we don't react, and we're not punishing ourselves in endless turmoil. Just a thought.
100%. So before I get to the rest of the hands, I do want to play this short video from Bobby Bailey. It's Ian Carroll from his speech at Restore the Republic, talking about the information war. That'll kind of, tie into what we've just kind of been casually discussing here. I want to welcome everyone, all of our streamers on Rumble, Pill.net, QUX, Kick.com, YouTube, X Live. Great to have you guys. Also, if you're not following American Mission, please do. I'm Kim, behind the flag. So let me play this real quick if the hands don't mind, and then we can continue with the discussion.
60 years ago, John F. Kennedy famously said,
I speak of peace because of the new face of war.
And today, we once again speak of peace because of a new face of war. Fifth generation warfare, information warfare, the info war, if you will. And so our governments know that they must manufacture consent for these conflicts in this new war of information. And today, that is your social media feed. Your feeds have become the battlefield in the first line of this war that is designed to manufacture consent among the public. And you may think, I don't pay attention to the politics. I just watch cat videos. It's no big deal. They can't get to me. And I'm here to tell you that you cannot escape this conflict, because being distracted by cat videos is damn near as effective as being dissuaded by disinformation. Because the military-industrial complex that John F. Kennedy warned us all about, it does not exist on an island. And when you follow the money, you very quickly realize that the people that own Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, General Dynamics, all the rest of them, are BlackRock, Vanguard, State
60 years ago,
and all of the two big
John F.
mega
Kennedy
banks
famously said,
I speak of peace because of the new face of war.
and today we once again speak of peace because of a new face of war.
These very same
Fifth generation warfare, information warfare, the info war, if you will.
They also are the top owners.
And so our governments know that they must manufacture consent for these conflicts in this new war of information. And today, that is your social media feed.
Funerary companies in America, so that when you have to bury the dead in their proxy
have become the battlefield
abroad,
in the first line of this war that is designed to manufacture consent among the public. And you may think,
in a world of aligned incentives,
I don't pay attention to politics, I just watch cat videos, it's no big deal, they can't get to me. And I'm here to tell you that you cannot escape this conflict,
if you're not creating profit in that avenue,
because being distracted by cat videos is damn near as effective as being dissuaded by disinformation.
The most important weapon in
because
their arsenal.
the military-industrial complex that John F. Kennedy warned us all about, it does not exist on an island. And when you follow the money,
but to stand and fight in this war with your words. And rather than manufacturing consent, we can manufacture peace. Not just peace for our people, but peace for all people. Not just peace in our time, but peace in all time. Thank you.
Pretty good. What'd you guys think? Now I have no hands. Somebody unmute.
Well, Kimberly, if you don't mind,
Go for it.
I think that we have to become the attitude that we are trying to bring out in all ways. We have to have a 3-level attitude, and as we have to bring out kindness along with love and with the fight. And I don't, it's kind of a tough thing to do. It's a tough balance, but we create the attitude around us, and we need to understand what type of attitude is needed at this point, and become real good at and infectious at bringing that attitude out in others. So appreciate the mic again.
You are absolutely correct, sir. All right, now we can go to the Crusader, and then we can go to Wolf, and then we can go to Daniel Jose.
Thank you. So it's a shame Vinny is not here. Hi guys. Yes, this is Aaron. Yes, this is Aaron. Who do you think is the Crusader? Who's been crusading all this time? Of course, this is Aaron. Yeah, but I've given up on my other Twitter account because, it's not growing. I mean, this is a complete joke. So I'm trying with this one. We'll see.
Are you getting harassed by Ukrainians, Aaron?
No, I am not.
they've been trying to harass me, but I've been telling them to go to the peace table and that their days of sucking on the taxpayers' teat is over.
Yeah. So it's a shame Vinny is not here because this entire conversation about why we're sending more money to first of all, we're sending money to Lebanon, we're sending more money to Israel, more money to Ukraine, every other country except the United States and the people who have been affected here in America. So Vinny was very upset about this, as every normal American should be. And I responded to him explaining that I'm so glad that I wish that it was here, so I could explain it to him directly, but it has nothing to do with, in particular, the administration as a whole, this thing that we're sending money everywhere except to American citizens. It has everything to do with the Federal Reserve, internationalist, globalist bankers who seek to make a tremendous amount of money through the propagation of war that benefits only them. Now, there's not that much money to be making in rebuilding the United States and everything to do, and they only make their money through debt and deficit. So by helping Americans, they're not going to be making that much more money by sending more money over to the Ukrainians, to Israelis, to Lebanon, to Japan, to Taiwan, to every other country out there, to Iran, hell, even to Iran. To send our money over there, that's how they make their money, through our debt. It's monetized debt. And for those who are interested, you could look up the history of the Federal Reserve or the Creature from Jekyll Island. You'll be very much surprised of how this entire thing works. It is the monetization of debt over debt over debt over debt 10 times or 88 times over. I don't remember the exact number. So it's absolutely atrocious. So the question is, why aren't we sending help to the United States? We're already so much in debt. Why aren't we helping American citizens? Well, because we're not in debt for ourselves. We're not, the government isn't the government isn't the debt for, Americans. That's not the point here. The point is that the government is in debt for a bunch of internationalist globalist bankers who as like parasites drain the blood of America. It is not there any benefit to send any money to American citizens. They will not benefit from that, or the benefit is so minimal that they don't want to help. So I mean,
think about it. We get paid in debt. Our dollars are debt.
Completely. I mean, so for those who are wondering, why can't we go more into debt? Because it's not the government's choice to go into debt. The government doesn't go into debt by choice, or at least by, or it is coerced. How about that? If it is by choice, then it is coerced by internationalist bankers who completely bankrupt this country. But since I made my point very clear, I would just like to point to RG the artist. You said a certain demographic. How about you name that demographic? Come on, don't be shy.
The syndicate?
Yeah, he said it's a certain demographic. Can you name that demographic for me, please?
Yes, sir. It's called The Company, and you can look into that yourself. We won't talk about it on here, but yeah, it's called The Company. And it began with like Mossad and CIA, but that was the early days. Yep.
What is the demographic?
What is the demographic of people?
Won't be drawn into one of the back and forths. Thank you, though. You're trying to get me, but
Aaron.
Because I know where he wants to go with this.
No, he doesn't want to go there. You're trying to make him go there, though. He was very polite
well, if he's going to bring up a certain demographic, well, he might as well
He didn't,
to name that. You know,
He didn't bring them up, though.
exactly.
he said the words a certain demographic. He should have.
Hey, do you know what
finished that.
you know what demographic means? Do you know the definition behind that?
Yes.
All right, y'all aren't going to get
Well, if you're smart enough,
All right.
if you're smart enough to know that, then you're smart enough to know that there is a very, let's say, a high percentage of a certain demographic, and I can't poke at it, but you know what I mean. You said you know where I'm going with it, so you know what I mean. I mean, would you like to talk about
I'll say both of
any
you
of
are
that?
I'll say both of you are wrong.
It's a
Yeah, this is about
worldwide
America right now.
Worldwide syndicate does.
Why do I hear myself like that?
All right, guys, when you're talking, you have to mute your mic. Sorry. I don't have a co-host.
That's
Chris,
Christopher.
I don't know where Christopher is. He's down in the audience. I can't get him
He's
up
on
here.
stage right now.
Oh, I don't see him. I think he's playing with me. All right. Well, we can continue that discussion later. Go ahead, Wolf. No spiciness.
No spiciness.
I mean, you can have a little bit, but you know.
Keep it bland,
Shit.
all right?
I will stay out of that pot.
Just kidding.
I will stay away from there. I love the conversation. Hello, humans. This is fantastic. It's nice. America, appreciate the DC and everything else that you're doing. I think it's fantastic. I love all the things and all this stuff. I will quarter, a little bit of pushback on quarter. I love the message that you were sending about the attitudes that we need to possess and mirror outward to cause like that limbic syncrasy to get everyone else to behave the same way. And also, I will say with great power comes a great responsibility, especially when you're doing something that will create behavioral change. That can be dangerous and that has to be done correctly. So I will say, yes, I agree. And also, let's be careful. I wanted to chime in a little bit more about FEMA, if you don't mind, because I see in the topic, Milton.
Believe me, Wolf.
FEMA.
I know what I'm doing. Okay, I don't need to be talked to like that. I get
Talk to you like what? I'm not speaking down to you.
Whew. I mean, it must be that I'm like, facing down the barrel of a Milton today. Are y'all getting the barometric pressure, or is it just, am I bringing it all the way through?
Am I bringing it all the way through?
What's with the echo?
What's with the echoing? Jesus Christ.
Yo, can you shut your mic?
Yeah. Am I allowed to finish my thought? Is that cool?
Yes, go for it.
Perfect.
And it's no quarter. Don't, you got to give them the no quarter.
Oh, yeah, as I was. Just a little bit about FEMA and friends that I have in that state and what's been going on. The friends that I still have in the military that are telling me what's going on. It's a bunch of fuck games, for lack of better term. I think it's astonishing the misdirections that we're getting from both sides. And for those who don't know about FEMA and 3 of the other companies that they're associated with, I look at FEMA side-eyed. The 3 other companies that they're associated with that are part of psychological manipulation on the populace are Crisis Cast, which specializes in realistic crisis simulations for training purposes. This specific company provides actors for emergency drills, counterterrorism exercises, and disaster simulations, as well as Vision Box crisis actors. They provide trained actors for mass casualties simulations, disaster drills, and emergency response training. And then there's CRI Solutions, which is Crisis Response International. They offer actors for disaster response training, focusing on realistic scenarios to help prepare for emergency responders. And FEMA, though it's not a private company, often collaborates with those actors and those companies. So knowing that, it is not hard for a certain group to manipulate the perception of masses and what's happening. I look at FEMA very closely. And I just heed that warning. And also just really quick. No quarter.
Hey, get this guy RG off the stage. He keeps on muting his mic and it's echoing.
Yeah. No quarters. Maybe my monotone or however it was that landed with you where you perceived I was speaking down to you, however it may have been, or a challenge or whatever, or if I questioned your intelligence, I just want to make sure and that it's known that that was not my, it's not my intention there. So I will offer an apology saying that, and also know that that was not my intention. It was more for the people who,
I get it.
You know what I mean? So I just want to squash that because I think we all have the same goal here, which is we care about our fellow humans and Americans, and we want to stop the bullshit from happening, right? So much love.
Yeah, and most of us know that how far to take that attitude, and where we have boundaries for what we do. So we're not going to go overboard with it, but we do want to display a level of leadership that's infectious, is what I was trying to say. Thank you.
I love it. All right, so let's go to Daniel Jose.
Yeah, hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity of coming to the stage and providing some insights and some words. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I'm a Venezuelan who left Venezuela 7 years ago from known reason of the situation in my country. Although I'm not in United States and I'm living in Canada, I do respect, I do value, and I do cherish the culture of the United States, since most of the culture over here in Canada and United States is rooted on the same foundations of the West from Europe, some way or the other one. And it's important to you understand, and I'm very glad that you people are on the same page, being always, anytime I have the opportunity to speak, the situation in the US and the importance of you understanding what's going on. Very inspiring, very well to the point, the video you just played, Miss America. The situation in the United States is actually under the hands of communist people, and it's heartbreaking to see a type of deja vu of what happened in Venezuela happening all over the West. And it's more crucial to acknowledge that the United States seems to be the last stone of the West. The European Union seems to be gone. There's many things that, from a point of historical view and society and values, is totally eroded. And the only reason I say United States is the blessed and the last stone of the West is because you have 2 amendments, the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, which will prevail, and you must protect at all costs, because those are the only 2 reasons why United States is the last stone of the West. It's very insane what these people is trying to do with your First Amendment. you see what's going on in Europe, and what's going on in Europe already did happen in Venezuela and already did happen in Cuba. And it's no secret that all these people is linked together to destroy all the West. And as a Venezuelan who also have to apologize, because I know that many garbage people from my country have fled to your country, and I apologize for that because we are not the same. I'm a very hardworking person here in Canada. I pay property taxes. I pay work wage taxes. So I pay taxes on any way. I have launched business here in Canada in these 7 years. And I don't cherry these people, these bad people, but you see how bad things can go when you have a communist administration like the Biden administration and the Kamala administration, where not only the good people leave the country, but it comes a point where also the garbage people is not even able to handle the situation inside the country. And that's why you have all these garbage people from Venezuela leaving Venezuela in the last 3 years. 7 years ago, these people was very, let's say, good in Venezuela, but now you see what's going on with this trend of Aragua.
It's just like California, right? Like, they wrecked it and now they want to move out. It's like, wait a minute here.
What actually today I was speaking with a guy here in Canada. His dad is from California, and asked to him, "Is your dad still there?" No, he left. And I said, "Oh, well, many people will be leaving the United States, and the most worried thing is where we're gonna go. There's no any place in the world where we can be safe now. Only United States, because have the Second Amendment. I know United States not gonna allow what's happening in Europe. All this madness with these African and these Muslim people taking over the street, taking over your children, and taking over your women. And although I'm an immigrant, there is a difference from me. And this immigrant from Africa and Middle East is that we are all somehow a descendant from a Western colonizer, and we have somehow the same set of values and beliefs. And it's insane how they're destroying your culture even from the school. This woke propaganda inside the school. In Venezuela, they did no woke propaganda, but they did different type of propaganda. So you have a society that is totally brainless, that doesn't think nothing, only think on partying, only think on having pleasure in life, drinking, and being waste, and not paying attention on what's going on and who is the people ruling. Elon Musk is not wrong when he say this is the last election if Donald Trump doesn't win. He's not joking. He's totally accurate in what he's saying, because who is going to protect this country now from all these illegal aliens if what they're teaching your kids in the school is just to follow a fetish in their entire life? And that's totally misleading. In Venezuela, they didn't teach us about following fetish, but they teach us things that they shouldn't have teach us. They teach our hate against the American empire. And since I was a kid, I never followed those thoughts because I know it was very misleading. I have the clear understanding. My family was very well aware of the situation. They informed me about all this when I was a teenager. And it's highly crucial to understand all these things, because all these people want two things. They want you to be broke by the money printing scheme on the Federal Reserve and making all this war all over the world and just filling up the pockets of the oligarchs, of the monopolies. So you only have to be worried about two things: what you're going to eat at the midday because you are broke, or how you avoid to don't be robbed, kidnapped, or killed because they are allowing the crime in your country. They imported these people intentionally. So you don't think about election, you don't think about politics. And it's very worrying when I see Americans saying, I don't care about politics anymore because both of them are the same.
Well, you have to understand that for 3 generations, we had this huge psyop that you didn't talk about politics or religion at the table. Like my generation, and well, I guess I would say probably baby boomers sort of started it, but Gen X and millennials, I mean, we did not know how to have civil discourse because we weren't allowed to talk about politics or religion. They took God out of school. And I think that right now what we're seeing is, I'm not sure if it's Sodom and Gomorrah because we've got some really nasty stuff going on in the Pizzagate and the Diddy and the Epstein. But, is it the time of Esther with, ancient Persia, where they partied for 180 days? So, that you've got sort of a dichotomy going on here where you've got the people that are woken up and they understand what's going on and they see what's happening. And then you've got the people who just are still so captured because the people that were coming into their living rooms every morning before they would get ready for work to give them the news that they thought was the news, and it was all lies.
Real quick, Kim, I just want to apologize to this gentleman. I gave him a thumbs down at the beginning because he compared us to Canada, and I just took offense to that. But he understands the difference, obviously. He knows about the Constitution. He knows about all the amendments and so on and so forth. So he knows the differentiation between Canada and the crown that they, kneel for, where we don't. We're captured by a corporation, like you said earlier.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. You had a sense of what is the freedom because you fought for the freedom the same way my people fought for the freedom. I know in Canada there was not a fight. The only reason I say that is...
Don't worry, I'm an immigrant myself. I've been here since the age of 4, so,
Oh, well. Well, yeah, no, all I say is what links together all the West is that we have some set of values and beliefs in common from 2 centuries, 3 centuries ago. By today, of course, it's not the same. It's not the same Canada and US. It's not the same than Venezuela. It's not the same. Well, what is turning the same is that everybody's turning into communists. That's all what I see the same. And that's what is very concerning, and the political awareness where in my country, they erode this. Until certain point, you see the people eating from the garbage, and that's when the people start to wake up. And
Venezuela was very rich when I was in high school. This was 1990s. They were very rich and well off. They had a good amount of oil that right off their shore. I had a friend of mine who was from Venezuela. Was her last name Moranta, I think. And she was a very good friend of mine. Her aunt was queen of the parade that they'd have, some sort of festival in Venezuela. So she was like the queen of that parade and all this stuff. That they were very well off as a country, but they pushed to the socialism to the max that it got to that point, and it ruined their dollar, and they deteriorated.
It just goes to show you what can happen with, when a government is allowed to, do whatever they want, when the people are not paying attention or they don't have the wherewithal to stop the process.
They kidnap the state, technically, and that's what's going on in the United States and the West. They are kidnapping the states, and people is not understanding this and is not seeing it. Taking away the First Amendment is one of the steps. Taking away your weapons is a step for kidnapping the state. Taking away your kid from a school with propaganda is another way. All these social media vote in Venezuela happen the same. You don't see any channel of the media talking bad about Maduro.
Well, that's how they take away that's how they will take away our guns, is through the children. We partner with an organization called Courage is a Habit, and he and his partner Jennifer McWilliams, they talk a lot about how they are indoctrinating our children to take away the guns, because you've got a whole generation that has been basically mind controlled into believing that guns are bad and guns kill kids in school. So you've got this underlying narrative that has been propagated upon our children, and that's the way that they are trying. Obviously they're trying other ways, but that's the most subtle way that they can do it, because they're not going to just come in and just bang on the door and say, give me your guns, because that's not going to work with us, right? They have to trick us into it, just like they've tricked us into getting where we are now. This is a long game that they're playing, but luckily,
we need Trump.
Yeah, we need Trump. Yeah, and so I want to play this really quick, this little clip, because this speaks right to what we're talking about.
If he loses, man, what? You're fucked, dude.
I'm fucked. If he loses, I'm fucked.
It does seem that way. You can't just be like, going.
Yeah, I'm like, how long do you think my prison sentence is going to be? Do you think? Will I see my children? I don't know.
Because it's not like you can say, well, yeah, I maxed out to him, but I get.
I have no plausible deniability. No, and I've been trashing Capone nonstop. Oh, I know. Well, the Kamala puppet, I call it. You know, the machine that the Kamala puppet represents.
Yeah, she's irrelevant. I mean, she's not even.
No. Like I made a joke which I realized I deleted. Which is like nobody's even bothering to try to kill Kamala because it's pointless. What do you achieve? Nothing.
No, it's totally
find
right.
another puppet.
Exactly. That's
it's no point in killing.
Deep and true, though.
Nobody's trying to kill Joe Biden.
It's
pointless.
Totally. You actually put that up.
Yeah. No. Some people interpreted it as though I was calling for people to assassinate her. But I was like, no, even. I was like, doesn't it seem strange that no one's even bothered to try?
It's not worth it.
I mean,
there's an endless supply.
Yeah, like nobody would. It's absurd.
It could be anybody.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna try to. Nobody tries to assassinate a puppet.
Of course not. A marionette.
Yeah, marionette. It's just like, it's hilarious.
I love it. He is fucked. We all are. If she gets in there. All right, let's go to Bumble, and then we will go to the Crusader, and then Philip. Hi, nice to see you.
Thanks, Kim. If you think about it, Kamala Harris really works to our advantage. She has no substantial ground to stand on, and you're trying to create the illusion that she does. Works in the end, works for Trump, and actually drives people away from her and towards Trump. So, I'm glad to see that the conversation is calmed down a little, because when we fight, when we compete over the mic, when we engage in conflict, we are just doing the bidding of the adversaries. So I'm just glad that it calmed down, and my blood pressure hasn't been too adversely affected. So I guess I can stay here a while and listen a little bit longer.
Don't you worry, Adam got him. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that we, when we get like that for really no particular reason, it's counterproductive. Go ahead, Aaron, and then we'll go to Philip.
I just want to correct something that Venezuela and Canada, the two flags, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So he said what he said. I'm going to say what I have to say about us being controlled by communists or so on. I know Venezuela is controlled by a communist party, but here in the United States, or probably the same would be said in Canada, are not controlled by communists. These are crony capitalists, globalists, internationalists, anti-humanist, Malthusian types who are only there to enrich themselves while destroying everything that they see, because to them, the natural order of God's world, God's beautiful creation, is repugnant. They hate it. So these are people that are not communists per se, although the people on the lower end of the spectrum, meaning the people who follow them, they put on a communist face, a socialistic face. You have people like Jill Stein, Cornel West. You have other people from other schools of thought in universities. So they are basically there to reinforce the order while acting like they are opposing the order, such as people like Bernie Sanders. Notice how Bernie Sanders, who used to be, pro-Second Amendment, he used to be pro-strong immigration policies, and he used to criticize the billionaires and the millionaires, but now, it's just the billionaires. Why? He became a millionaire. Now he's not talking about the border wall or immigration policies that will work for the American people, because it's now inconvenient for him. And the same with the Second Amendment. He's now in a different position, so he has to back away from those things, understanding that he'll be thrown off his chair if he doesn't. So these are the people who you are talking about. You're talking about the people who are not really that much in control. When we're talking about the internationalist, globalist bankers, the people who believe that they are gods, they are capitalistic by nature. They are crony capitalists. They seek to unify everything, but not the people. Unify everything, every organization, every administration, every country into one world order of sorts, over which they would control. So they're not communist. They are, again, crony capitalist. They seek to enrich themselves at every opportunity while impoverishing everybody else. These huge corporations you see out there, they're not communist. A corporation of that magnitude can be fascist and capitalist, which they are. But they, again, not communist.
You know, Aaron, you say they're crony capitalists. I agree with that. They are cronies. But the ends of their new world order is totalitarian. That's their goal. It's authoritarian and it's totalitarian, where they completely control everything. And, you know, you're a serf. We're back to the days of serfdom. The crony capitalism is the tool to get to that the ends of the means that they want to reach.
American Mission. I'm about to pull into my destination.
All right, go ahead, Philip.
Really quick. Yeah, thank you. So everyone, I just want to tell you all need to vote. Do not go by yourself to vote. Take 5 to 10 people with you to vote. Even if you can't get 5 to 10, you got to take people with you to vote. And right now, we got to be getting out there to our churches. Get everyone at your church to vote for Trump. Talk with all of them. Okay, we all need to be doing this. All your friends, all your relatives. Now's the time to call them. Now's the time to text them. Now's the time to talk to them. You got to make sure that they are registered to vote. You got to make sure that they are going to vote. So please do that. And also, if you have free time, if you live in a swing state, you really got to be, knocking on doors, chasing ballots, and getting out the vote for Trump. Because, 40 million Christians, it's projected that about 40 million Christians are not going to be voting in this election. That's unacceptable. If Christians would just get off their ass, Donald Trump would win the popular vote by millions of votes. So, we got to win this one. We really cannot afford to lose this thing by like the tiniest razor thin margin. So I said keep it brief. So that's brief. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Great job, Philip.
Thanks, Philip.
The time is now.
Adam, stop. Thank you, Philip. Appreciate you. And yes, everybody needs to bring a buddy, bring 4 more buddies or 5. Also, there are tools that are out there for you to use that you can do it from the convenience of your home. Early vote action is one of them. You can go out to that. It's got postcards. You can send text messages. You can make phone calls, and it has a near me button. So you can do it in your own neighborhood. I went to the $1.25 store, the $1.25 tree, excuse me. I bought thank you cards, and their sticker game is no joke. 3D stickers. I made envelopes, and then I wrote on there reminding them when it is time to vote, who to vote for, what to do, and then I sent them off. So, and I'm hanging them around doors. There's all kinds of things you can do to make sure that we get everybody out and voting. And we've been talking about it at the church that I go to. It's been, our pastor has brought it up. He's like, this is, we have to be involved in our government. We've got to be the ones that are governing us. And we dropped the ball on that, but we're picking it up and we're going to run with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to address what Adam said earlier. That, again, I think I've already explained myself on the communism versus capitalism front. I've explained that both of them are two sides of the same coin. Both of them view the world in a materialistic order. I believe, of course, that there has to be a spiritual aspect as well. So I reject both of them. I look at more of an open free market by which the government does regulate big corporations, protects the small consumer, protects not only small consumer, but also the mom and pop shops from big corporations destroying them. And meanwhile also protecting the environment. So I've already discussed that they're both, but they are fundamentally both a flawed ideology. One that seeks the redistribution of wealth, and the other one seeks the accumulation of wealth. I reject that completely because that is a materialistic order, and I do not accept that. So this is why I condemn both capitalism and communism simultaneously.
Well, I think that also, we need to remember that I think they've underestimated the American people. So I think the arrogance of these corporations, forgetting where they came from and who made them, what they are today, is really it's going to be their downfall. And I'm excited. Like I said, I think that we are on a path to getting things back in order. But we've got to get through this election, which seems to be getting harder and harder with every hurricane. But I think that what's come out of that, and we talked about this when I first started the space, is that we're seeing the American people doing what we do best, and that is working together and solving our problems without interference from the government. That is just the way it's got to be right now, because we do not consent to this shit. And I mean, like I said, I'm starting a movement here. Like, I don't want to pay these motherfuckers anymore, because all they keep doing is giving my money to somebody else and not taking care of our people. So, they better watch their ass. Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay. Well, Crusader, I resonate with what you say, because I also on the same page. This has been one of my theses when I come to Canada, and I did realize what was the capitalism and the contrast with the communism in my country. I'm not gonna call it socialism. The socialism is just the preparation for the communism, technically. And 100%, you may call it a extreme capitalism, but the end game is the totalitarianism, and the totalitarianism through the capitalism. So basically, what they do is they exploit the vulnerabilities of the democracy too, because it's like me saying Chavez was a Democrat because he did use democratic methods. But that's the risk of the democracy sometimes, when these people exploit it. And also that's the risk of the capitalism, when they exploit it and they turn it into totalitarianism, some way or the other one. And this redistribution of wealth, of course, is just a lie, because they redistribute the wealth to their own hands. So it turns to be an accumulation of wealth somehow just for the people in charge of the state. The only difference is, well, that's not too much different, because on both sides they make people broke. The extreme capitalism, making everybody broke, abusing the system, abusing monopoly, the formation of monopolies and all these things. And on the other side, just the state taking away money from people and they filling up their pockets. So,
well, they overcomplicate the
people. Yes, they are using capitalism methods, but the end game is a totalitarian communism type of state, type of system. And then both of them, they're the same coin, and one of the other one can lead to each other.
Yep, and it's that centralization. Aaron, you talked about, you said unifying all these institutions. I don't think it's unifying. I think it's centralizing. That's what they're doing, because a unity means that everybody's got input, right? And there's compromise and cohesiveness. But centralizing is where everybody is a minion, and nobody has any power. I've got two Dr. Angelos in the room. I've got one on the stage, so I'm a little bit weirded out. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Dr. Angela.
Hi, you're funny. No, I was just gonna say, and my brain's real tired at this point, but remember this when you go to vote, and please, if you can, get out and vote. If you cannot, mail your vote in. If you're disabled or elderly and cannot get a ride, mail in ballot. But remember this, it's real simple, guys. Remember when President Trump, we could buy groceries, and they weren't, you didn't get 4 things for $200. But under Kamala Harris and Biden, groceries are up 46%. And we do have to remember, just very simple. Under Trump, we could afford to eat. Under Harris and Biden, we couldn't afford to do shit. So that ought to simplify it real easy. And it don't matter what persuasion you are, what it comes down to is the almighty what I can afford with my pennies that I have and the billions they're chunking out the door. I could buy groceries when Trump was president. I can't buy shit now. And
I mean, if she gets into office running on killing babies and censorship, we got real big problems here.
Yeah, and I think at that point, I think somebody's going to take over. Space Force will take over the internet and do an investigation and find out what the shit's happening, because we know what the polls say. We know what the media is saying. It's one thing. I've looked at the real polls. The real polls say President Trump is ahead 56%. They say she's behind down to 44%. So that's 100% of the people. So if we get these big ass inflated numbers, we know some dead folks are out there voting, and that's not okay. And so when it's all said and done, we ought to be able to project who the president is going to be. And if it's not the case, then we know it's time to arrest some folks and it's time to clean some house real fast. And I promise you the military will do that.
Let's hope so. Peacefully.
Well, we have to follow law and order too. We can't just bust up in a place and without any just cause. We have to remember these are human lives. We have to walk softly. We have to follow the letter of the law. We have to do things in a fashion that is orderly and lawful, but we cannot allow this kind of communism that disguised as democracy in our government anymore. And we can't allow government to be the beast that we all worship. We have to balance things out. We have to come back to good common sense, good morals, and what's right. And I don't give a rip what somebody wants to be at their own home. Go do that and be happy and free. Don't break any laws doing it. But I'm not going to judge you. But yet at the same time, I'm not worried about who supports what preference when it comes to when I go buy groceries. If I can't pay the damn bill, I don't give a shit who you are. I'm not going to like you. That's the bottom line. And I think everybody's kind of there. And I've seen people of all walks of life and people that by their appearance would shock the shit out of you say, well, we know how things are going. And we know that if we don't get Trump in office, we're screwed. And that came from someone that was transgender that had a brain, okay? It doesn't matter. People are awake. People are awake. I don't care if you've gone through the transgender process, whatever. God still loves you. And we still love you. And we still want you to get your butt out and think logically and vote. Just please. This shit doesn't matter. They're trying to divide us with. None of it matters. What matters is that you're a person. We live, breathe, and eat and have oxygen, breathe oxygen and have souls. And all that shit they're feeding us does not matter. What matters is, can we afford to live? Who's doing the closest to the right thing? And who's in our best interest at the end of the day? And I think we all know that answer. But on that, I'll yield. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Sorry, guys. I just got an emergency alert. Just got a little storm coming up here.
We'll say a prayer that everybody's safe. We'll say more prayers for everybody that are in the paths of the storms in Tennessee and out in North Carolina too, guys. Remember, our nation's in distress. We have people that have lost their lives there. It's a serene time. We also have to remember that the left is kicking and screaming right now. And I think those storms, we've all come to the same contention that wasn't God made. We know it was man made, and we know who was behind it. And so just keep your heads about you. Don't make any rash decisions. Stay in prayer and be strong. It's going to be hard these last 4 weeks, but we can make it. Stay together.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, I'm going to play another little clip, and then we'll go on to Aaron and Daniel. Okay, hang on one second.
occurred in the Great Society when we began to buy into social justice is when our progress began to plateau. And you especially began to see this divide amongst blacks themselves.
Since I wasn't around in the 60s, right? But I've heard stories from my family and my loved ones. And shit was tough on niggas. It was tough on niggas. I'm not surprised.
It was tough on niggas. I wonder how many people got murdered in Detroit back in 1960 versus how many niggas got killed last year. All this we talk and we hear about racism, the KKK, and all this bull. We have accomplished something the Ku Klux Klan could never have done. I don't give a damn all the racism, all the bullshit. You ain't entitled, period. We may have been oppressed, we may have been under the gun, but we carried ourselves with more dignity and respect and love and appreciation for one another. In spite of everything that we were going through. We had dignity and class. Now look at this going on today. White people ain't thinking about your ass because you sabotage yourself.
Everybody everybody plays a part, but it's not happenstance. And to your point, the Marxists is like, nigga, it was a plan. It's been a plan for a long time for this exact same thing to happen. So it can't be like y'all did it to yourselves. If the whole thing is
did it because you are responsible for your education. You are responsible for knowing the things that you need to know in order to make yourself something in this world. Yeah, them people may have a plan that at the end of the day, every man is born with free will, but they know that they get all type of social status, credit, and accolades if they can go before a group of disgruntled people and represent to the mainstream on behalf of them, their grievances. It's like trust upon the leader, and I will ensure that you have what it is that you need to have because of those people over there have done you wrong. So I'm going to take from them and bequeath it to you. But it never quite makes it to them. But got all this to say about America and about white people. But they sitting up there bumping elbows with the very same white folk that share their brain because they all think the same. They're all a bunch of leftists. All of them. And I'm gonna keep saying.
That's my new friend, Teach 'em Chuck. It's pretty awesome. I really like him. He does another one where he talks about how critical race theory is just a total bunch of bullshit. He talks a lot about how white people have been basically attacked for the last couple of decades to create this divide, and that minorities have really done a number on themselves as well. But it all gets back to that control and divide. And I mean, he's right. If you just dig a little bit, and go, that doesn't seem right. Let me go and look and, find out what's really going on there. We find that they have spun something up to create just total and complete chaos within our lives for no reason other than to, distract us so that they can have freak offs and pizza gates and I don't know, just United States blackmail. That's what's going on here. Christopher, are you there now? Chris has been having lots of problems tonight. Audio problems, that is. Wait. I have two Christophers now. I have two Dr. Angelas and two Christophers. Go ahead, Bumble. Go Bumble, and then I'll go to Aaron.
Tim, I changed my suit for you again.
Oh my God, it looks so good.
Okay, so listen, I got a real beef, and you triggered me by that last clip that you played. Not that it was a bad thing. I like listening to that, but it brings my issue straight to the forefront. Why do blacks get to surround a word and make it a hate crime? How come chink or Japs or Krauts, why aren't these hate crimes? No, it's only nigga. Well, I don't have intent when I say that word, so I can't be categorized as committing a hate crime. As a matter of fact, I grew up in the suburbs of Boston, and we prided ourselves on being white niggers. And another thing, those gentlemen were throwing around white people with the same veracity as nigger. And so we need to get rid of this word once and for all. If you go back in history, originally, the word was meant to be a person of low sociological economic status. It had nothing to do with black people. They co-opted the word, and then they made it a hate crime. A word can't be a hate crime. It's freedom of speech, and we need to dispense with that by whatever means necessary. Thank you.
You're absolutely right. I do think that we can't allow words to contain us and bully us anymore, right? Like, just like retard. I mean, we talk about that all the time. It's like, I'm not talking about someone who has Down syndrome or has special needs. I'm talking about a dumb fucking asshole that needs to get out of my way.
Yeah, let me clarify for a second, Kim. We prided ourselves on being white nigger retards. Thank you.
Oh, right. Yes. Make sure you put that back in there. All right. I'm going to play this other little clip real quick, and then I will get to the other hands. Hang on.
Racism doesn't have any power.
Chuck, I don't agree with that. People were outwardly racist while Trump was in office. He gave them white people.
Like who?
He made it comfortable for people to be outwardly racist about how they fit. Chuck,
no, he didn't.
The climate was a lot different.
Studies came out about the racial divide trending in the wrong direction in 2013 when Barack Obama was entering his second term, when the Black Lives Matter movement jumped off. Let's not make it seem like Donald Trump led to this big increase in the racial schism in this country. That happened under Barack Obama. Since we want to go there,
but did it happen?
Since we want to go, it happened. Yes, it did happen. We talk about one-way aggression. You allowed to be openly racist towards one particular group of people, and it's white people. Let's call a spade a spade.
White dudes are pussies.
White men are the issue. White men are the biggest threat to America. They are.
You got analysts on MSNBC, CNN openly referring to Donald Trump and his voters as Nazis. Nowhere in popular media do you see white people saying the kinds of things that you see people saying about white people on national television, from Joy Reid, Trevor Noah, Don Lemon, over and over again.
But Chuck,
you don't see that anywhere else.
Because you can't get on mainstream media and make light of other races doesn't mean that the racial climate is still not
the
what it is.
reason why the racial climate is what it is because that's what critical race theory seeks to do. It seeks to polarize for the purpose of finding people who are sympathetic to your cause. And you keep on dividing one group onto itself until you create a group of disenchanted, angry, dysfunctional people that you can then use for the purpose of your liberation. That's not my words. Those are the words of Herbert Marcuse himself. Anybody talking about race in this country or talking about critical race theory and have never heard the writings or the words of Herbert Marcuse, you cannot sit at this table and talk because you don't know the theory, you don't know the science.
But like somebody never heard of them, but in their own eyes, they look out into the world and think, yo, that shit is fishy.
I don't give a damn about what you go out in the world and see.
A racial slur was spray painted on the front gate. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is dealing with a racist news
found in the garage stall of Bubba Wallace.
See, this is all about narrative weaving and storytelling because they play upon people's emotions and how they feel. If I go to a doctor and tell a man, I feel like I'm having a heart attack, the doctor is going to run a specific set of tests to get to what is actually happening. He has to know the truth. He can't do medical procedures upon me based upon what I tell him I feel. He has to know for a fact. He has to know what he's talking about.
So he has to do a battery test.
He has to do a test because if he does the wrong treatment to me based upon what I feel, he could kill me.
That was the clip I was going for. Christopher, is your hand up? Are you going to speak now?
Well, there are people that are ahead of me, and even though I'm a co-host,
I know, but I've been trying to get you to. I
think we need to go to the other people first.
They've been talking. You haven't said anything. Aaron can wait.
Oh, is that who the Crusader is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, hell, I didn't know that. Hell with Aaron.
Feel the love, Aaron.
I love Aaron, but Aaron's got his own space and he can rattle his mouth off in his own space. And besides,
come off mic.
He's got tunnels and space lasers.
Steering a hurricane.
This is true. And he's nowhere near the hurricane. So he's not going to get flooded, and he can shoot on to kingdom come. What we're facing here in just under a month is a choice between absolute destruction of our souls and salvation. I think it's that serious. I think when you have a candidate for president of the United States who one of their primary goals is to promote abortion, now let's think about this just for a second. Kamala Harris was the district attorney of the city of San Francisco. She was the attorney general of the state of California. She was a United States senator who sat on the United States Senate Judiciary Committee. And one would think that she would have some reasonable ability to discern what the law is based on rulings of the United States Supreme Court. And the Dobbs decision made it very clear that this election has nothing to do with abortion, that nothing in her power can change the Dobbs decision, because nothing Congress can do short of passing a constitutional amendment will make any difference. And even if they do that, it will be long after her second term in office, if she gets reelected, before that happens, because there are 30 Republican states and she needs 35 5 of them to pass a constitutional amendment. And even if we lose 10 of those, she's still not going to have enough states to be able to pass the constitutional amendment. These people are insane.
Well, it is an issue in Florida this year because
it's a state issue.
I know.
It has nothing to do with the federal government. You can't run on abortion rights when abortion rights have nothing to do with what you're doing in Washington, D.C. It's a settled issue.
You don't think she's going to put in an executive order?
You can't do that. It's unconstitutional.
I mean, Chris, how many things have they done that are unconstitutional?
Joe Biden has written an executive order 4 different times to try to give student loan forgiveness, and the Supreme Court has slapped him down twice, and 2 other federal judges have told him no in the last 4 months. I don't think he's written those executive orders. Somebody has written them and put them in front of him to sign. But I can promise you that, he has been doing this for the last year and a half on his way to try to get reelected. And why he persists now that he's not a candidate, I have no idea. I mean,
I do, Chris. You know why? You know why, Chris?
He's looking for student welfare. Okay, go ahead.
No. It's just like Gavin Newsom out in California. It's the playbook. You promise reparations or student loan forgiveness in hopes that you will get people to vote, knowing that it's unconstitutional. It will be slapped. It will be slapped down again and again and again by the Supreme Court. But that's not the point. They dangle it out there to curry votes. And that's why they do it. They know they won't be successful, but they promise people something that's never going to come to fruition. I yield. Sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
I love it. All right, we'll go to Aaron and then Walter.
Oh, it's a shame. I didn't notice.
Hold on just a second. This is why they stopped teaching civics in school, because we know that when people have an understanding of the Constitution, that they don't put up with this shit.
Hey, mic is open. Hey, Luke Herrick, stop announcing like you're at Yankee Stadium.
You have an open mic, and that's what's causing the echo, Mr. Bumble.
No, I don't.
No, it's you, Chris. I think you got your audio's all wonky.
Both of the Chris accounts are open, so they are echoing off each other.
Right.
Anyway, what I was about to say is that it's a shame that Daniel has left. I want to just wanted to say something to him. Well, in that case, I'll just say to you that yes, earlier when I said unify all these organizations, the administrative states, the arms, and all the others of the octopus, yes, you're correct. What I meant to say is centralize instead of unify. Thanks for that correction. Oh, and finally, wait, let me see if she's still here. No, she left also. Okay, doesn't matter. That's all.
Everybody left that you wanted to talk to. Is that it? Go ahead, Walter.
Yeah, nobody likes me.
I like you.
Well,
you forgot to say no homo.
You know, there's a lot of fire, and you know, fire needs to be contained. Fire is good when it's used properly, and so I just had to address this because it's not the first time that I've heard these words in a space with people, certain people. And coming from being raised in the 60s, you know, and hearing those type of words go back and forth between people, those were very contentious words in my time. Now I'm not a speech police or anything like that, but anyone that's in a room or space or any place that I'm in and I hear those words, I'm going to address it. I understand what my options are. Clearly understand what my options are. But I think it needs to be, it needs to be brought up. It needs to be out of our vocabulary, those words, because there's nothing good about them. I don't care what direction that they're coming from, but I've seen a lot of bloodshed over those words, a lot of teeth being knocked out, a lot of different things happening in back in the time, in those days. So I prefer to leave them back there, and for us to change our language and not use those type of words anymore because they are very offensive, and I'm not offended easily. But
yeah, I agree. I agree
those
with
type
you.
of words that caused riots between two demographics, two people. So yeah, I just prefer to stay away from. And if I hear it again, I'm just not going to be happy.
I agree with you, and that first clip was not necessarily the clip that I wanted to play. It was the second one that I wanted to play, and but what they were talking about was more important, but it did make me feel uncomfortable as well. So I understand that. I grew up in the same heavy weight on them. But it just shows you as well how much words can control our feelings, right? And we can't let that be the case anymore, because it does create division, and it does create, but it's because of what they have put behind it and what they've done to it. And I'm sorry that you got uncomfortable. I didn't really mean to play that clip. I meant to play a different one.
No, it wasn't the clip of, when you have two people of that ilk having a conversation with each other, that's one thing. But to have someone of another race using terms that are insulting to other races is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
How do you feel about white people?
I love white people. My wife is white. I'm surrounded by white people. I have no issues with color or genders or whatever you might want to be. But, those words that cause division and hate are very strong words, and words do matter.
Yeah, I agree with you, no quarter, but when I use a word like that, there's no intent. So I'm not causing the division. They are. And instead of using that particular word, I suggest we use a term from the 1930s called bindle stiff. A bindle stiff was a hobo, a bum, a person of low economical, socioeconomical status. So let's bring that word back because Bindlestiff was shelved in lieu of the N-word. So let's make Bindlestiff great again.
I'm in favor of dipshit.
Yes, that's a great word.
How do you feel about that, Bumble? Do you think dipshit's
Hey, I'm gonna run to the front of the class and proclaim myself a proud dipshit.
Yeah, I have to say that I grew up in the Mid-Atlantic, and we're 60 miles outside of Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. in the late 60s was a very tumultuous place, especially in the late 60s, 1968. I can recall in Maryland where we had dusk to dawn curfews. We weren't allowed out on the street between dusk and dawn. And then we relocated to South Louisiana. And that was a culture shock because there are a lot of different cultures there that I'd never been exposed to. There was a lot of open racism there that I'd never been exposed to. And yeah, I'd seen it with adults, but I'd never really seen it with, people that were my own age. And even in the late 60s, they had not given up on the hope of the South rising again for another civil war, because it hadn't been just over 100 years. So, the wounds were still open. But I can tell you that as somebody that went from what you might want to consider a lily white situation in a middle class neighborhood to living on a dirt road in a town 30 miles north of New Orleans. It was literally dirt. And having to learn what life was all about all over again. By the time I graduated from high school, I had a completely different view of the landscape of America. And how human beings were put together. And at their core, pretty much everybody is the same. So you get to start with a clean slate with me. And you get to earn my respect, or you get to screw that up, and maybe I'll give you another chance. Probably. Depending on how bad you screwed up. But,
or you get to endlessly harass you.
but there's really no room left for racism in America. And I really thought that we were on a pathway for that to end. Until we elected Barack Obama.
Barry Sortero.
And
the Antichrist.
He had an opportunity to make great strides. And he sowed great division and put us back easily 50 years.
100%.
And we are still in the process of trying to recover from that.
I think we'll bounce back quicker, though. You know, like I do think that he did quite a bit of damage, and you're right. It's very frustrating because he had such an opportunity. You know, we were also hopeful that we were going to go to the next level, and instead we went down this pit of just complete and total. And it's not really reverse racism; it's just racism. But yeah, it's just horrible.
Well, you know, and the problem is in the interim that they bastardized everything else. They've created these protected classes of people that never existed before. You know, it was one thing, you know, to be a genuine minority, and you know, for whatever reason, but it's another thing altogether to be an embedded minority. And over the last 7 or 8 years, we have seen transgenderism become a minority. We have seen gender fluidity become a minority. You know, you can become an animal in a tree and whatever you want, and you're a protected class, and nobody better cross you on that, or you can get sued and
canceled.
Yeah, and they can take away everything that you are, and that's very sad. And you know, these people who have created this need to be punished. They need to be put away in a special little hidey hole all together where they can commiserate with a cup of rice a day and, you know, some distilled water or something that they can, you know, catch it from the sky and they're when they go out into the prison yard. If they're
Amen.
lucky.
That's a prayer, right? Did you just say a prayer? Let's go to Planet Saturn Club real quick. And I know that Peace, you had your hand up too. So let's go Peace first if you still want to talk, and then we'll go.
Sorry. Is it me or him first? Sorry.
Peace,
Was it?
and then we'll go to Planet.
Okay.
Thank you, Kim. And hi, everyone. Hi, Chris, Bumble, Kelly, Carolina, Quarter, Christopher, and everyone listening. And you, Kim, thank you so much for the space tonight. Christopher, thank you so much for what you just said. Everything is making so much sense tonight in this space. And I'm so grateful that we have it here to speak openly about this crazy shit that's going on. I just wanted to interject about the abortion issue and how Kamala is running on that fact, and that, you know, all the supporters that are voting for her, that's like the first thing they bring up. Oh, but the abortion, you know, the abortion. And I have been explaining to them the same thing, that there's nothing you can do about it. It's in the state's hands now. It's no longer a federal issue. So all this talk about abortion is moot. But speaking to that, brought up something that I thought about and I've been thinking about, and it's something that keeps coming up in the media about stacking the Supreme Court. What exactly is stacking the Supreme Court? And how many are you going to stack it with? And if you do and are able to even get to that point, who are you going to stack it with? Like DEI?
It's Joe Biden's goal. Like, that's what he says he wants to do. He's, you know, it's like a dog with a bone, without a bone. And he, you know, it's one of his puppeteer tasks. But
get away with that? Can they do that?
I don't think there's enough time left for him to do that, but you never know with these people because they're an illegitimate government. I mean, they pretty much don't conform to the Constitution at all. So
no, they don't. And that's what's scary. And if she gets in, can she do that? I mean, just by saying, or as she says, with the stroke of my pen, can she do that? With it?
The answer to that is no.
Okay. Because if she were to do that, they could overturn the state issue with abortion, couldn't they?
Well, he can't do that. I can't tell you for sure whether she could do it or not if she's elected, because if she's elected, she may carry the House and the Senate. And if she carries the House and the Senate, then it's possible that she can pack the court. Congress has the power to create courts and to change courts. So if Congress says that the Supreme Court needs to go from 9 members to 25 members, and they pass it and the president signs it, then the Supreme Court goes to 25 members. And then the president proceeds to appoint the difference between 9 and 25. And the Senate, the way it's currently structured, basically gets to do that with 51 votes, thanks to the former senior senator from the great state of Nevada, Harry Reid, who broke the filibuster on judicial appointments.
Oh,
So
that whole process.
that's how that works.
And in that case, if they got enough judges, they could bring it back to the federal court. They could codify it.
Well, I think that if she gets into office, we're gonna have way bigger problems to deal with than that one. So I will tell you though, I've seen some really great, impactful content on this subject, and I think that again, one thing that we've learned in going through all of these prep documents and all of this, all these white papers and frameworks that they put out and they ran when they ran the coup on the United States government, was that we cannot, they can't, how do I say this? When we, they are able to do things that we aren't ready for. Like, every time they've been able to do something, we never thought of it. And it's because they've got plan G, E, and F, right? So they always have multiple different plans in case to get to the same outcome that they want. Mm-hmm. And they don't care about any of the documents. In fact, they will say that we are stomping on the Constitution, but it's because, they've got the power of the media. But what's changed this time is this forum. The fact that we can have these discussions and talk about this, is she able to do that? We can actually be engaged, be involved. Now, we do need to take it to the next step and start calling them, right? We've done that in the past when there was a really big thing going on. Now, granted, most of the time they didn't do what we wanted anyways. But as far as the courts are concerned, I am not a fan of Glitch McConnell, but I will say that maneuver that he pulled on Barack Obama was something to behold, and I'm pretty sure he sold his soul for that one.
Thank you, Kim. I just wanted to say one other thing. I love the cricket sound in your background. It's so cute, and I thought there was a cricket in my apartment.
Yeah, they're singing right now because they're about to go bury themselves in the dirt.
Thank you for letting me share. Thank you for the mic. I land my plane. Thank you.
You're welcome. What's up, Planet?
Hello, thank you so much for letting me speak. A lot of spaces start kicking people for no reason, I've noticed, when it comes to politics. So thank you so much for having an open space. I want to bring up a really good point. This is to do with the whole fiasco with Puff Daddy and all that stuff. I feel like celebrities have become more rich and powerful than the CIA, the FBI. Celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, money's power. And Hollywood celebrities, literally, for how rich they are more rich and powerful than the CIA, the FBI. And that's just the way it is. And that's the problem. They're getting away with all this evil stuff in Hollywood.
Well,
you don't even know.
The hammer is coming down. This Diddy thing, it's not going away, and it's bringing back the Pizzagate. It's bringing back the Epstein. It's all connected, and no, they're going down.
Well, I hope that's the case, because it kind of feels like right now, Diddy's just going to get a slap on the wrist, and all the other more guilty people than him are going to get no, I think I think Diddy's going to he's going to be the scapegoat. He's probably apparently he was the one who was blackmailing the people who were even worse than him. So he's the least guilty of the rest of them. They're even more guilty, the ones he was blackmailing. So I feel like they're going to make him the scapegoat, like they did with Epstein. And then the rest of the celebrities are going to get a slap on the wrist. That's kind of how I feel like they're going to do it. Because like I said, I really hope that's not the case. I really hope they do bring justice to these Hollywood criminals, these psychopaths in Hollywood. But you know, very well.
The difference with the Epstein versus the Diddy is that the victims are, a lot of them, everybody knows, like Justin Bieber. And then also there's so many of them that have come forward, and you've got the Kim Porter's book. We all have been kind of, you know, something's going on there, and we've heard whisperings for decades, right? So I think that there is way more public opinion that is very, very deep on this, and there is lots of, you know, human trafficking, child trafficking, internationally, not only interstate, but internationally. It's all tied in. There's cartel. And Miss Twatmala was, you know, she was the attorney general. So you think she didn't know what was going on with Diddy? She was also, you know, the DA in San Francisco. You know, I mean, I know it's not LA, but, you know, I mean, hell, she was Montel Williams' side piece. I'm sure she was at some freak offs. Diddy threw her a rally. So I think that this is something.
What is a freak off?
It's a party where they drug everybody. I'll send you a TikTok, Chris. That's like, it's crazy. These two YouTubers got invited to one, and one of them didn't go, or he went, but he didn't drink the stuff. And he like explained it. I mean, they go into different rooms. Each room's got a different theme, and it gets more and more intense until, you know, you got Hillary Clinton, you know, stabbing babies, and it's just bad. It's really bad. And Oprah's involved. Tom Hanks is involved. I mean, they were involved in the Epstein thing too, but now it's like there's videotapes, and Kim Porter was actually copying. She found those things, and she was copying those when she mysteriously died. So there's a lot.
Yeah, I just want to finish up on something there. You're totally right. You're completely right about that. And so I hope that there is real justice this time. I really hope there is. And I'm just going to finish on something. I was one of the first people in Canada about 10 years ago, before Justin Trudeau was exposed as a phony. I knew he was a phony. I did a full research report on him, and I posted it online 10 years ago. This is before everyone knew that Justin Trudeau was a phony. So 10 years ago, when I posted my report about Justin Trudeau online, everyone loved him 10 years ago. And then what happened was, a week later, after I posted my report about Justin Trudeau, I was jumped by several guys. They literally targeted me. They knew my name. One of them even said my name. I'm like, how did you know my name? This is a week after publishing a report about Justin Trudeau and how corrupt Justin Trudeau is, and I knew he was phony and fake. And a week later, I was jumped by several guys, and they beat the crap out of me, and I was in the hospital for several months. Then years later, 3-4 years later, finally people started to realize that Justin Trudeau is a psychopath. He's a crazy billionaire. He's with Epstein. He went to Epstein Island, Justin Trudeau. Canada is extremely corrupt. It still is. And now Justin Trudeau just laughs it off. Even after the blackface scandal, Justin Trudeau just laughs it off. Now people know he's corrupt and phony, but he has gotten away with so much abuse. I literally was in the hospital for several months because of Justin Trudeau. He literally hired thugs to beat me up because I did a whole research report on him. So I just want to say that after you Americans fix your country, we don't have guns in Canada. We don't have the right to we don't have, it's not normal to have guns here. We don't have their Second Amendment up here. We can't defend ourselves. The police have guns. Only the police in Canada have guns. So Canadian citizens, we're powerless. We don't have guns to defend ourselves from our own government. It's really bad. We don't have freedom of speech. It's getting better only because people are starting to realize that Justin Trudeau's phony, and a lot of people hate him now. But 10 years ago, when everyone still thought he was such the nicest guy and the most PC man in the world with his gender pronouns and everything, like if anyone called me a she, I would be so offended. I'm a man, I'm a masculine, strong man. And if anyone called me a she, I would be so offended. Especially you wouldn't go to a female and call her a he. Like if you went to, hello, ma'am, are you a he? Like that would be offensive to call a man a he and call a woman, you know what I'm saying? So Justin Trudeau is phony, it's fake. And after you guys fix your country, I really ask you guys, please come to Canada and bring freedom of speech back to Canada and bring gun rights up here, because it would be nice if we could defend ourselves too from our own government, because our government, the Canadian government, is one of the most tyrannical, corrupt governments in the world. That's why only the cops have guns. Pretty much. Like in Canada, you have to get a very special permit to get a gun. Either you're RCMP or you're ex-military. In Canada, if you want a gun, it's really, really hard. It's not like the United States. It's really hard to get a gun up here. You have to have like a hunting license, whatever. Only the cops pretty much have guns in Canada. And so we're not able to defend ourselves up here. So I just want to say, yeah, so I really hope that things change, and thanks for letting me speak.
Absolutely. And yes, you are right. Justin Trudeau is an awful person. I mean, I didn't find that out until COVID, but I think that that's when a lot of these people were exposed. And I do think that this is bigger, than that. And I think that that along with the, the HHS scandal where they've lost 325,000 children, which if you guys haven't checked it out yet, go to the website thisistreason.com. They have a documentary out there. You can purchase it, and all the proceeds go to help rescue these children that have been trafficked. We've got I found a clip. This woman who used to work for Child Protective Services, she's blowing the whistle. I mean, it is like just a angry web of just awful things that has been going on that the American people can no longer turn their cheek to. Okay. At some point, ignorance is going to become criminal, and we cannot tolerate and ignore this behavior anymore. But it all stems from having an illegitimate government. They don't have any accountability because they cheated to get there, right? And so I know that we've been talking sort of about free speech and, then division and unity and, all of those kinds of things. I did want to bring up Julian Assange and what came out today that he spoke, he had a press conference, and some of the things that he talked about touches on exactly what we've been talking about all night. And so I want to play that clip, and then we'll get to any hands, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I've got to go back to working on hurricane stuff.
Well, before you do that, there's been an update on the hurricane. The 7 p.m. update.
Oh, let's hear it.
So the barometric pressure has dropped from 914 millibars to 902. And the forward speed's about the same at 10 miles an hour. It's now made its turn. It's moving east-northeast at 70 degrees. And maximum winds are still at 165 miles an hour. Category 5.
That is not the report I wanted to hear. I wanted it to wobble south. Let's go back to the wobble.
It is still poking at Port Charlotte, Category 3.
Okay.
Or Sarasota, that area.
Okay. I mean, that's terrible. It's all terrible, but I mean, a 3 is better than a 5.
Well, you're on the good side of it anyway.
Yeah, but you know what? It's until that sucker.
It's a small storm.
I know, but it just.
I mean, it's a really small storm.
The level of devastation that this area, I mean, it's just. I mean, Sarasota is populated as well, right? But it's nothing like Tampa. And
I've been to Sarasota. We had lunch. We had lunch there not long ago.
It was forever ago.
It was November, for God's sake.
Come on back down to Florida. The weather's great.
If you still have an airport. I think Peace Now had her hand up, but she took it down. So if she wants to talk with me.
Go ahead, Peace Now, and then I'll play the clip. No, Bumble. Did you want?
That was a slip. No hand up. Thank you.
All right. All right, we'll go to Bumble and then I'll play the clip.
Give me a minute.
All right, I'll play the clip and then we'll go to Bumble.
Record that under Pompeo's explicit direction, the CIA drew up plans to kidnap and to assassinate me within the Ecuadorian embassy in London, and authorized going after my European colleagues, subjecting us to theft, hacking attacks, and the planting of false information. My wife and my infant son were also targeted. A CIA asset was permanently assigned to track my wife, and instructions were given to obtain DNA from my 6-month-old son's nappy. This is the testimony of more than 30 current and former US intelligence officials speaking to the US press, which has been additionally corroborated by records seized in a prosecution brought against some of the CIA agents involved. The CIA's targeting of myself, my family, and my associates through aggressive extrajudicial and extraterritorial means provides a rare insight into how powerful intelligence organizations engage in transnational repression. Such repressions are not unique. What is unique is that we know so much about this one due to numerous whistleblowers and to judicial investigations in Spain. I want to be totally clear. I am not free today because the system worked. I am free today after years of incarceration because I pled guilty to journalism. I pled guilty to seeking information from a source. I pled guilty to obtaining information from a source. And I pled guilty to informing the public what that information was. I did not plead guilty to anything else. I hope my testimony today can serve to highlight the weaknesses of the existing safeguards and to help those whose cases are less visible but who are equally vulnerable. As I emerge from the dungeon of Belmarsh, the truth now seems less discernible, and I regret how much ground has been lost during that time period.
Sorry about that, guys. I got kicked out.
That's not great.
Telling the truth and more self-censorship. It is hard not to draw a line from the US government's prosecution of me. It's crossing the Rubicon by internationally criminalizing journalism to the chilled climate for freedom of expression that exists now. When I founded WikiLeaks, it was driven by a simple dream: to educate people about how the world works so that through understanding, we might bring about something better. Having a map of where we are lets us understand where we might go. Knowledge empowers us to hold power to account and to demand justice where there is none. We obtained and published truth about tens of thousands of hidden casualties of war and other unseen horrors, about programs of assassination, rendition, torture, and mass surveillance. We revealed not just when and where these things happened, but frequently the policies, the agreements, and the structures behind them. When we published Collateral Murder, the infamous gun camera footage of a US Apache helicopter crew eagerly blowing to pieces Iraqi journalists and their rescuers, the visual reality of modern warfare shocked the world.
For more than 2.5 years, the wire service Reuters has been trying to find out what happened to their 2 staff members on this street in the suburb of New Baghdad. WikiLeaks says this is what happened.
Hotel 26, Crazy Horse 1 have 5 to 6 individuals with AK-47s. RPG.
The voice on the tape, presumably a member of the military, says there has been shooting in the area and receives permission to open fire.
When people are labeled as insurgents, are they really insurgents? It seems to be the case that from the scenes in this video, that any person that is not a man and sometimes not a woman is by default labeled as an insurgent.
Light them all up. 02 traffic, 260. Come on, fire. Hey, Roger. Keep shooting. God damn it, Kyle. All right. I hit him. Oh, yeah, look at those dead bastards. Nice.
From a distance, you hear the voices on the tape watch as the wounded try to crawl to help. But when help arrives...
Come on, let us shoot. You're engaged. 1-8, okay, clear. Come on. Clear. Oh yeah, look at that, right through the windshield.
In this video, I think you see the corruption of pilots and the military by war itself, in particular by the modern nature of aerial warfare. So you see these young pilots acting like they're playing video games, only the high scores they are getting are with real human lives.
Wiggle frequency. Yeah, just drove over a body.
Oh, that part. I mean, so, the beginning of what he's talking about, I mean, the injustices that were done to Julian Assange, I mean, we're seeing it with all of the journalists. Jen and Dustin were attacked. Millie Weaver has been attacked. I mean, look at Alex Jones. I mean, it's like this culture has come about where if you tell the truth, you're arrested. And that all goes with the censorship industrial complex and what this rogue, illegitimate, tyrannical government is doing. And they no longer have the consent of the governed. I mean, we've really got to sign a petition or something. I mean, Chris, I think we should start calling them and say, I'm sorry, but we're going to take back our consent. And then figure out how to not give them money.
Well, you have to elect new members to the House of Representatives.
Yeah, well, we may not be able to get that this go around in 24 because we've got other things that we've got to concentrate on. But boy, the midterms, they better watch their butts because whatever third of the Senate is up for a re-election, they're going down. And so are all freaking 435 of them need to be just tossed out and start over. Maybe keep a couple of them.
Can I share a thought I was having that I shared in the space, different space yesterday that everybody loved?
Of course.
Thank you. Good to see American Mission, Chris, Carolina, the whole crew here. I see some familiar faces. And for those that don't know me, I directed political talk shows for 5 years on the Public Access Network. So fighting fire with fire or doing like a Project Mayhem. If you don't know what Project Mayhem is, look up the film Fight Club. Actually, try to watch the film Fight Club. It's dark and probably not kid-friendly unless your kids are over 18. Very dark. But
nobody talks about Fight Club.
Oh my gosh, we need to talk about it. Yeah, exactly. I love that you know that. So if you look at what they did, let me just explain this in very simple terms. The protagonist of the film is so angry with the credit card companies manipulating people and, you know, charging exorbitant fees and usury and all that. The protagonist of the film goes several sleepless nights, and eventually, and he's got personal problems, and he joins these self-help groups at churches.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you violating the first rule of Fight Club?
Yeah, good one, Bumble. Exactly. I'm violating the first rule of Fight Club, and it's so important because I think this is going to help everybody. So the protagonist basically deludes himself into believing that he's a superhero of sorts. Like he develops his own alter ego, and he psychs himself up so much that he cultivates an entire team of renegade men to brawl with him in an underground fighting club. And then he rallies them to infiltrate, let's just call them dirty corporations. And at the end of the film, he achieves his goal, and they take down the corporations. So my personal belief, I'm banking on prophecy. I'm banking on the ear thing Brandon Biggs was talking about on YouTube. And I know we all have faith in God here. And I know sometimes it gets shaky, and what do we do? How do we vote? Do we go to the polling precinct? Do we take a friend? Do we take a sheriff? Do we file a whatever? But just hypothetically speaking, if Trump did not win, we can always just infiltrate the government. Like, you can just flip your registration to Democrat and be a Democrat in name only, and get in there and really learn about, like, just be a James O'Keefe and play the long game. Get the records, get the receipts, and don't go to their little, you know, cocaine orgies and stuff. Don't get yourself implicated with all that nonsense. But we could infiltrate. We could do a Project Mayhem, so to speak.
Oh God, that's gonna hurt though. Ugh. I mean, I can barely stand to like go into any kind of conversations with them. It just makes me crazy.
Oh, I know. I spent 2 months undercover mystery shopping the Church of Scientology. It was freaky and weird.
Wow.
It was so many headaches. Just the weirdest, creepiest people.
They're such zombies.
Yeah, you know what they get paid per day? The workers, the volunteers, they make $2 a day, and they get this rigmarole, like recruit this new guy for the next class, get him in. It's all sales. It's all bullshit. Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. You're paying people money to read L. Ron Hubbard's books. Basically, it's a good.
Oh my
scam.
God, it's terrible. And guess what? The abortion rate inside of the Church of Scientology is unbelievable, especially when you were part of the Sea Crew or whatever, the Sea.
Oh yeah, Sea Org.
Yeah, I mean all of the women, they were not allowed to have children. I mean, some of them had like up to 10, 20 abortions. I mean, that's just horrible.
Yeah, which means they're all hooking up with each other. Yeah, you're allowed to have like a partner, but you're not allowed to give birth to a baby. That's exactly right. I remember that.
Yeah, it's really twisted. Well, we're not going to go down that hole tonight, but yes, I agree with you that is definitely a tactic we can use if Guatemala gets in there. But I mean, honestly,
I don't think the letter at this point, it just wouldn't make sense. Elon wouldn't like it. There'd be a revolution overnight. I don't think I just don't think it's an alternate universe that ain't going to happen.
So what are they doing? They're just going to try and just fuck it up as much as possible so that Trump's got he's got just so much work to do that he can't fix it all. But that's okay, because we can jump in there and we can help him fix it.
Yeah, I got inside intel from someone who has or had connections in the FBI, and he just texted me, "Don't worry, Trump's got this one. It's going to be Trump." I mean, still go out and vote, of course. Yes, vote and all that, and keep MAGA all day long. But
yeah, well, I mean, they definitely have capitulated because they don't have a way out that doesn't potentially kill them too. So at some point, but it does, beg the question why they're continuing to just trot her every which way. I don't know.
Yeah. It keeps the plebs happy. The plebeian Democrats all stay happy. They still have someone to root for in this football game that's already been decided because the one team was breaking so many rules. They're disqualified basically.
I'm convinced that if you're a Kamala supporter and you are truly going to vote for her, that you definitely have some sort of mental illness going on. We can fix it. It's okay. But I'm not. You've got to give me a damn good reason as to why you would vote for that woman. And if you're a friend of mine and you vote for her, lose my number because I'm done. I'm not playing. I'm not compromising. I'm not. If you are willing to put our country in jeopardy like that, irresponsibly, I want nothing to do with you.
Right. So you're saying listening to Taylor Swift is a mental disorder. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh my gosh. Dude, Megyn Kelly summed it up perfectly. I mean, Taylor Swift, you can thank her for children lopping off their parts. Because she supports Walls, and Walls clearly has a protective law in place where these children, if they go there, they can declare them a ward of the state and they can do whatever they want to them without the parents' consent. There are 16 states in this country that have gender affirming care laws in their laws that they have voted in that they can take your kid and you can't do one thing about it. All they got to do is get them over the state lines, people. Think about that for a minute, okay?
Yeah, it's
16
terrible.
states. 16 states in this freaking country. That means that there is a state within 6 hours of you where they can take your kid and you can't get them back.
Yeah, I was jokingly saying on my wall a better campaign slogan would have been balls to the walls because all these kids are getting brainwashed. Like, it's terrible.
I saw a picture of one today that had lopped off her boobs, and it was just
well, if
awesome.
they get a nosebleed, at least they get free tampons, right?
Chris. All right, let's go to Bumble. I know you've been waiting, and then we'll go to Planet, and then guys, I'm going to be wrapping this here in a few.
So, thank you, Kim. Listen, I've been contemplating from my contemplative mind, where I'm not polluted by my luxury emotions, and I can see the truth that there is no spoon. And I like AJ style. I like the game plan that I've already thought about. Can you imagine me in liberal Massachusetts, able to speak their language, running for governor? That's right, Governor Bumble of Massachusetts, and taking all of New England over in the process. So I like his style. Now here is the tremendous opportunity that I will cue you in on. And Kim, next time you sit down with Dustin and Jen, I want you to lobby hard for a revisit to Late Night Conspiracy Pizzagate, because the left and all these Epstein survivors, they consider Pizzagate dead and buried. And so they're looking for Diddy so they can make their escape and skate. So I propose that we roll back time and revisit Pizzagate and pull them all on the carpet one more time. There's a lot of new faces and spaces, and I'm sure these people that haven't been here that long would appreciate a trip down memory lane. And I was just regarding something this afternoon. It's October. 2 years ago. That's right. Only 2 years ago, I joined this platform. Seems like it's forever. And I know it is for a lot of people who listen to me. But 2 years, and it convinces me that I have the ability to manipulate time. Thank you.
And charge batteries. It has been 2 years for me as well since I discovered Spaces. I had been on this app since 2011, but I deleted it from my phone. I didn't really use it. It took up too much of my time, and I saw it as being, unproductive. But that was a very different time back then. But now, since Elon bought it, it's been over 2 years since he bought it, and it's been 2 years October since I got onto Spaces, and I feel as though I'm a much more informed person, and I'm awake. And even though I loved being in that warm, cushy bubble of everything's okay and having a good time with my friends, I would not change this. I would not go back. You can't go back. You just respond. If you're a responsible person who, loves this country, you just can't go back to ignoring it. We cannot do that. It's not going to be okay. Everything is not going to just, work itself out. We trusted the government, at one point. We trusted the media because they were in our homes every day, every morning. I was best friends with Katie Couric, and I thought Matt Lauer hung the moon. Look at how that turned out. Okay. So.
I don't know that story, actually.
Really?
Not as you relate to it. I know the names and I've heard about them, but not the inside intel that you have.
Oh, well, we are definitely going to go through Pizzagate because Pizzagate is tied to Diddy, and we will have a triple threat conspiracy space. I see Thinker down there, so we might be doing some truth talking and troublemaking on all three conspiracies: Epstein, Diddy, and Pizzagate. And Hillary Rodham Clinton is a player in every single one.
Yes, she is. And Kim, one final remark. I must say, I'm shocked and chagrined to learn from my friend Planet that Justin Trudeau is a phony. Go figure.
He's sarcastic.
Bumble, I've recently met Justin Trudeau's brother.
Yeah, but he's a good guy, I think.
Yes,
half
he
brothers.
is.
They're half brothers.
And I shook his hand and met his kids, and he's a wonderful man.
He's taking really good care of Dustin and Jen right now, which makes me happy. All right, let's go to Planet, then we'll go back to AJ, and then I'm going to do some final thoughts, and we are going to wrap this so that I can start wrapping my house.
Thank you so much. I'll make this really short and sweet and really quick. Free healthcare is not better healthcare. Free healthcare in Canada means lots of incompetent doctors. My grandmother died on the surgery table of an incompetent Canadian doctor who basically slept his way through medical school, and who's partied his way through medical school. And he killed my grandmother on the operating table. And then when I went to go talk to him, I had smelled alcohol on his breath, on this doctor's breath. And I tried to get the hospital security footage that I could prove that he had shown up to work drunk several times because he was an alcoholic doctor. And you know what they did? Because it was my word versus a doctor's word. He's a doctor and I'm just some random Canadian. The court system in Canada is so corrupt. The doctor hit me with harassment lawsuits saying that I was harassing him because I was demanding the security footage from the hospital that shows that he went to work drunk as a doctor and then he murdered my grandmother on the operating table because he's an incompetent doctor who has an alcoholic problem. So this was going on for several years. I was in litigation with the hospital and with the doctor, the alcoholic Irish doctor that murdered my grandmother on the operating table. Then they had the audacity to put criminal charges on me, allegedly accusing me of harassing a doctor. And they said, I'm just some crazy Canadian who's a nobody who's harassing a doctor, a Canadian doctor. How dare I accuse him of being an alcoholic and murdering my grandmother on the operating table? So what happened was, eventually, and I'm going to wrap this up, is years later, after the lawsuits in Canada went nowhere because the judges are corrupt, they literally dismissed my lawsuit over and over. I didn't even get a chance to go to court. The doctor had 100 lawyers. The doctor had the best law firm in Toronto, and he had literally 20 lawyers. It was a 100-lawyer law firm, and he had 20 lawyers on his team. And I couldn't even afford to get one lawyer because I'm not a doctor and I don't make $500,000 a year. And I was self-represented. I was self-represented against a criminal alcoholic doctor who had 20 lawyers. And they had my case dismissed over and over. I wasn't even notified there was court dates. They literally would go and have my lawsuits dismissed without it. And I kept filing more lawsuits. I kept saying, no, I will be heard. I will have my day in court. And they literally didn't even tell me about court dates and would just go and have the motion to dismiss and dismiss my lawsuits. That's how corrupt Canada is. Until eventually, finally, I literally just went online and with a lot of research, with a lot of evidence, I literally exposed Canada and how corrupt the healthcare system is. Free healthcare is not better healthcare. They murdered my grandmother. And then you know what they did? Police attacked me. I was wrongfully put in jail, and they took my dog, my poor little Pomeranian, and they euthanized her. And the asshole police officer who purposely, they took my dog while I was in jail, and they euthanized her. And she was a little innocent, sweet Pomeranian. She was only 7 years old, and they tried turning around saying she was old. She was an old dog. No, she wasn't. I literally had videos of her right before they euthanized her. She wasn't an old dog. There's psychopaths in Canada. They murdered my grandmother on the operating table, and they also they murdered my dog. They euthanized my dog because they're animal killers. Justin Trudeau hates animals, by the way. I'm going to wrap this up right now. Literally, there have been several lawsuits filed by Canadians because their dogs have been shot by the cops. Canadian police officers have gone around into people's apartments without a warrant. This is why you Americans need your gun rights. You need to have your Second Amendment, because Canadian apartments were raided by Canadian cops, and Canadian cops are the biggest pussies. Whenever anyone challenges them, they shoot Canadian cops. They have shot people's dogs. And people have literally, their dog was just defending their apartment or their house, and their dogs have been shot by Canadian police officers. And of course, those lawsuits go nowhere because Canadian judges are corrupt. So anyways, I just wanted to say that, Canada is very corrupt. And I just want to say that free healthcare is not better healthcare. And after Americans, you guys fixed your country. We don't have guns up here. We don't have the Second Amendment. Our government is going to be corrupt forever because we can't overthrow the government because we don't have guns to overthrow the government. They're just going to keep doing whatever they want to do. Justin Trudeau will probably be prime minister forever. And then the person that replaces him.
No. Hey, listen, you know that we Americans love a good, happy ending. So we're definitely going to come up there and save you guys because you're a very important part of our continent, right? And I mean, there's no way that we got to fix us first, though. And that's the issue, is that we keep giving away money to all these other people in humanitarian crises. Well, we're in a real humanitarian crisis here. We're in an American crisis here, and we need to get our shit together. But again, this is a perfect opportunity for us to show each other and remember that we can take care of ourselves and we don't need the government.
We'll film a new South Park movie up there. That's how we'll save it.
Hey, Kim.
Yes.
Is that a Pizzagate happy ending?
Oh my God, no. Can we take back that word too, please? Fairy tale ending. How about that? A fairy tale ending where we always have to have somebody to save. We can't just be selfish and save ourselves. We've always got to go in and get somebody else too. So Canada's the likely choice. Certainly not going to be Ukraine or, Mexico. Mexico's going to be in deep trouble. Go ahead, AJ.
Was that Planet that was just talking about the Pomeranian dog? That was Planet?
Yes.
Okay. So Planet, have you read the book Murder by Injection by Eustace Mullins?
I haven't read that book, but I just want to say euthanization is murder. Dogs never consent to be euthanized, and euthanization is murder. That's how I feel about that.
We agree. We agree. So I directed political talk shows. I heard a lot of people getting raked over at the courts here. I've seen so many dejected fathers who had their kids taken away. The father he said he was a good dad. He looked like a good dad. He interviewed like a good dad. We don't know that they were totally innocent, but we did a documentary about fathers having their babies taken away, and the women were just crazy and sleeping with the lawyer that was defending them, and then the judge, then getting all the money. And we know the courts are corrupt. So it's kind of the choir preacher thing, but we're with you, bro. Murder by Injection is mostly, it's the medical conspiracy against America, and sadly the book is nonfiction. It'll open your eyes to how deep the corruption is, and the only hopeful thing I can say comes from a quote that's attributed to Jesus Christ, but most Christians have never heard it because it's from the Gospel of Thomas, but it makes perfect sense. It's basically this: when you know the truth, you will be disturbed. Then you will be amazed, and eventually you will rule over everything. And you can take that and dissect it as many ways as you need to, but the more we start to learn about the corruption, the wiser we get, right? So the better we can protect ourselves and align with people that are like digitally here in the room, and then meet them in real life, and build our X-Fam, build our clan, build our conservative whatever we got left after this depopulation agenda is done. And I mean, obviously, my flesh and blood is going to go someday. I'm not my flesh and blood, but you want to know that you have inside of you whatever it takes to overcome what is in front of you. And then also pick your battles wisely, because most people don't win 100% of their battles. And my mother's visiting. I picked her up from the airport. She wants to watch a movie tonight. Thank you so much for hosting America Mission. It was great to be here.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate you, AJ. And thanks everybody who spoke tonight, and all the listeners. Appreciate everybody. Hopefully,
did we stream tonight or not?
Yes, we did. We did stream, and
Oh.
I did say hi earlier. But we can say hi again.
And don't forget to visit our website, where we have some wonderful merchandise, a portion of which proceeds are going to support the victims of hurricanes. And there's some very interesting patriotic merchandise that speaks your mind.
Yes, if you haven't seen the T-shirts and the hats, they are quite wonderful.
Courtesy of Kim.
Oh, sorry, Chris. And always remember, folks, bikinis are mandatory. Good night.
I can't wait for the Yeti to show up in the bikini there, Bumble. But yes, please visit the website. We do have great articles out there as well, along with all of our partners or affiliates that we work with all the time. Lots of wonderful organizations that give you information, educational materials. We are also working on a share your business page, so that we can really promote and lift up the businesses of our community here. So if you do have a business that you would like to have us present, we certainly are going to be taking those forms. So we're creating the form right now, and but we definitely want to make sure that we're promoting within our community because we're stronger together. Oh my God, so cheesy. But anyways, thanks everybody.
God bless y'all real good. And pray for the hurricane victims.
Yes, pray that it's just fizzles out and dies. Maybe it needs a DEI program.
Well, we could send it to the airport. Nobody's there. Maybe it can find some suitcases full of women's underwear.
Good night.
Said, I speak years ago, John F. Kennedy famously said, I speak of peace because of the new face of war. And today, we once again speak of peace because of a new face of war. Fifth generation warfare, information warfare, the info war, if you will. And so our governments know that they must manufacture consent for these conflicts in this new war of information. And today, that is your social media feed. Your feeds have become the battlefield in the first line of this war that is designed to manufacture consent among the public. And you may think, I don't pay attention to the politics. I just watch cat videos. It's no big deal. They can't get to me. And I'm here to tell you that you cannot escape this conflict because being distracted by cat videos is damn near as effective as being dissuaded by disinformation. Because the military-industrial complex that John F. Kennedy warned us all about, it does not exist on an island. And when you follow the money, you very quickly realize that the people that own Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, General Dynamics, all the rest of them, are BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and all of the too big to fail mega banks that we've been bailing out for the last 30 years. Conveniently, they also all own each other. And then you start to think about it and you realize that these very same corrupt financial institutions that are the top owners of the war machine, they also are the top owners of Pfizer and of General Mills and of your car companies and of your water utility companies. They're even the top owners of all of the biggest funerary companies in America, so that when you have to bury the dead in their proxy wars that come home from abroad, they have a service for you. Shout out, all wars are bankers' wars. In a world of aligned incentives, it is highly profitable to all involved to keep you distracted, to keep you unhealthy, to keep you afraid, to keep you angry with one another. Because if you're not creating profit in that avenue, you're probably creating it in one of the other avenues. The information that manufactures the consent to allow this to keep on going on is the most important weapon in their arsenal. And without it, they can do nothing if we do not consent to this governance. I'm calling on you not to fight with weapons, but to stand and fight in this war with your words. And rather than manufacturing consent, we can manufacture peace. Not just peace for our people, but peace for all people. Not just peace in our time, but peace in all time. Thank you.
Read all about it. Kennedy and Trump. Extra, extra. Read all about it. Extra, extra. It's extra, extra.
Dick Kennedy endorses Trump. Dick Cheney endorses Kamala Harris.
Because there's really only two answers. And it really comes down to this election. Either the CIA and the military-industrial complex, the intelligence complex, is too powerful and is too many moves ahead, and they thwart this movement this year, and then, like, I worry we get relegated to fighting indefinitely against this oppressive state apparatus that is just infinitely powerful. But I don't think that's real. I don't think that's what's happening. I think that they're scrambling and doing everything in their power to try to hold this back, and that this movement has just absolutely checkmated the lies and the deception and the corruption. And I don't think there's any escaping it for them now. I think that this movement is clearly winning the presidency this time and only picking up momentum. And I think it's just a natural crack in the barrier, because all we've known for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years is progressively worsening corruption. And the moment that you walk that back and start to do things for the people, then it's just, I think people can't even imagine the momentum that that will build.
Freedom isn't free, folks. Hey, do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Kamala Harris? The IRS has endorsed her. She's going to save the country. She's going to do all the things that she hasn't done in the last 3.5 years to make America great again.